Hi, beautiful people. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. You know, I'm going to have a song for every time I open up the show. Okay, let's introduce our panelists for tonight. We have Coach K. We have the AP. Harrison. Or HD. What's that? You know, I can't. Oh, HDTV. You know, the letters are way too small for me. Marcus. And Inaz. My name is Shan Monet, formerly known as Shantae, and this is a Chic critique. How's everybody doing?
Good, good.
Alive and well.
Yo,
Happy to be
one day
alive.
I'm gonna wear these glasses. I'm gonna get used. I don't even know what the glasses are. But I'm gonna wear these glasses because I know that I'm in need of them. Y'all, one day I woke up and I couldn't even see, and my eyes was just blurry. Like I was like trying to get it out. Like, come back.
Chief. We love you, Shan.
Yes. Anyhow, happy Friday, you guys. So our topic today is do relationships affect motherhood and fatherhood? The relationships, that's the meat and potatoes. But wait a minute, is that mine or is it echo? Did y'all hear the echo?
I can't hear it. Is it me? I'll mute up. Damn.
It's okay. So we're talking about the effects of relationships on your ability to parent. That will be at the end. It will not be the full conversation, but it will be at the end. We're gonna hop around tonight, okay? Is that okay with everybody? So we have a couple of videos. Mark, that's you.
I was just muted. You what? Somebody.
It's not me. Would you stop blaming the mute on me? It's not.
I was muted
like
and
this.
I reached down here and
Listen,
grabbed this pop. How did I come off
look,
mute?
this
I
is what I'm
got
gonna do the whole
something in my
night.
hand and then a pop in my other hand. How did I
This is
come
what I'm
off
gonna do the
mute?
whole night. I'm not, because y'all love to say I'll be muting and unmute people. I do not.
I mean, but Shan, we got evidence because every time he get muted, Marcus the only one that get muted. It be you every time.
I believe Marcus' little baby be over there mute. That just not. I had my hand. I think JR, stop paying people. Get off the thing, JR. JR, bye. That's JR. That's JR fucking with you. All right, you guys. So we're gonna watch our first video. So I have videos tonight. Once I find it, go play it. I'm in a silly mood tonight. All right, so our first video is. Here you go.
I'm very grateful that my parents got divorced when I was younger. I think they could have gotten divorced sooner.
Okay.
I think they knew, probably they wanted it to work, but I think ultimately and subconsciously they knew it was a wrap. And I wish they would have wrapped it up then. Mm-hmm. Only because, and my mom is going to kick my ass for saying this on this podcast, I think that me and my mother would have had a better relationship if she would have not been in an unhappy relationship in her marriage. People trying to stay for the kids is so toxic because if you're unhappy as a person, as a wife, as an individual, that's going to affect your motherhood. It is.
No, it is. We literally.
Okay, so this is one of them that goes into the topic for tonight. It's more than one, but this is the first one. So, in your opinion, do you guys think that, for this particular topic, when you're in an unhealthy relationship, whether it be a marriage, because you're the parents of the kids, do you think that the relationships affect your parenting skills? Do you think the relationship of marriage affects your parenting skills?
I wouldn't let it affect mine, but I know some people feel like they can't. I put on a good game face if I had to. I'd try and make that stuff work so the kids didn't have to feel any of the animosity in the house. Like, we got an issue, you talk about that outside the house or in our bedroom or something. I'm not about to be arguing or even carrying on in a manner that's I could be a Grammy Award or what is it, a Oscar Award winning actor when it comes to making sure my kids don't feel none of that tension within the house. Because you could feel that stuff when you come in the room. It's thick, like it's like smoke when you come in the room. It's hella tension in. Now, can it for some people? I think so, but I would place the safety, sanity, and the well being of my children before my emotions any day and twice on Sunday. So that's just my perspective, but I think it can
Uh,
affect some people.
I agree with that, Marcus.
Yeah, I think that, some people can compartmentalize their relationship. They act one way to their marriage, they act another way to the kids. And most of the time, it seems like it's easier to treat the kids well than it is to treat the person that you're unhappy with well. And so I see oftentimes like people be like, well, I'm just staying for the kids. Man, listen, F them kids. If you ain't working with the people that made those kids, you're gonna jack them up anyway. So that's always been my motto, is just like, yo, listen, if God, Jesus, if God can give up his own son, who's much better than all of us, why in God's name can I look at these kids and be like, F that, I'm gonna work on the thing that made these kids? That's just my opinion.
Wait, so you said you gonna be like F the kids?
Well, F these kids in this sense that the
I need
kids don't
clarity.
come before the marriage, is what I'm saying. Because oftentimes what people do is they transition to the kids because it's easier to focus on the kids because they didn't ask to be here. Y'all were just having a good old time, and then now here comes the kids, right? So people tend to be like, well, these kids need to be taken care of. So they'll focus on taking care of the kids instead of taking care of the thing that built the kids. So, because the thing is, you will have better kids if you have a better relationship. Just saying.
Ooh.
I agree with that. I think that a lot of people really lack emotional self control and emotional maturity. And so they aren't able to look past their own happiness. Like, yes, happiness is important. Yes, happiness makes a difference. But I think, especially in our generation, because there's like this instant gratification, that those moments where it's hard to get to feel like forever. And I think people can't look long term enough to work through those things and allow those moments to really take over. And it gets really tricky when children are involved because you're not just affecting your own intimate relationship, but you're affecting how those children are going to view relationships for a really long time, right? And so if you have that tenacity to work through things together, then like it teaches something very different, right? If you just have a happy-go-lucky marriage all the time, the children don't get to see what two people who love each other look like when they're working through things. But if you're able to model what healthy, constructive problem solving looks like in a relationship, then at least there's that learning opportunity to be like, okay, these people really care for each other, and are able to go through rocky moments together. But when you allow it to devour you, you don't tend to do that. And that's really when people start to flip that switch and treat their person in a way where it does become toxic, not only to the relationship, but it models a toxic relationship to the children too.
The only thing that, because I completely agree with aspects of what all three of you said, but just looking at the other side, if you are in a relationship that is hella toxic, where you're pushing on each other, hitting on each other, and cussing each other out all the time, you do need to get out of that relationship. But at the same time, you should have thought about those things prior to having kids. And I understand things happen, people change, but you have to, if you're going to have kids, you need to be married. If you're not going to be married, then you don't need to have kids. And if you're married, you need to fight for the relationship and not each other. But if you're in that relationship where it's constant bickering and constant fighting for the sake of the kids, you do need to get let that relationship go and figure out how to co-parent. I just want to add that little piece of the conversation that we're not talking about.
Go ahead, Marcus, and I wanted to say something.
Can somebody like explain to me how the progression of getting? Because I never got to a relationship before where I'm like bickering and fighting with somebody. So how does that progression happen? Like, what does it look like, and how do you get there?
You mean when people are arguing with each other?
Yeah. Like how do you get like it just don't like compute to me how two people who love each other can be so angry that they in the house actually coming to blows. Like, so
Well,
how
some
does
people
that
don't love each
progression
other.
happen? Right.
Some people marry because they had oops, they have a kid now. Maybe it was a sleep, and so you just did the manly thing by marrying a person. Some
Right.
people cheat. So, and depending on the woman that you have, that may mean a lot to her, which means her trust is now gone. So now, that causes a toxic, relationship between the two of you. There's so many things because we're all human. We all have flaws. There's so many things that can come in the middle of a relationship, so.
How much of this do you think is because like as a collective we really lack conflict resolution and communication skills?
Oh,
Because
absolutely. Emotional intelligence as well. I mean, it's a lot of things that go to play. My question is too, because I wanted to take this to another step. What about people who are not married? They're just dating, or they're in relationships outside. There's no marriage, single parents. Do you think that single parenthood interferes with parenting? I mean,
yes,
dating while you're a single parent interferes with your
yes,
ability to parent.
yes. And the reason I say that is because so just strictly speaking from like my perspective, right? When I see people in relationships that are broken up and they have kids and the other person moves on and they get somebody else, the fathers that I know, they really don't want nobody like disciplining their child. And if they find out somebody disciplining their child, it's gonna affect a lot of stuff, like a whole lot of stuff. And it could get dangerous in some cases, because people are extremely protective over their children. And I think the most protective thing would have been to make that relationship work so they don't have to even encounter that type of issue. But it happens, and shoot, that's a scare I couldn't imagine. I can't. I couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine somebody trying to parent my kids. They don't know. I can't go at gunpoint. I'm not. I'm just gonna mute up. I can't.
Yeah, I think that it's odd um, that there's a reason why that they have this song called "The Thin Line Between Love and Hate." The very thing that you may love about a person might be the very same thing that you grow to detest about a person. Just like, there is things people look for in a relationship. So say for instance, a woman wants a man to protect her, right? And he's this big, strong, 6 foot, diesel dude, right? Just chisel, like Adonis looking dude, right? And oftentimes that physically strong dude that's willing to protect you, that same thing that he's able to do can be turned on you. And sometimes I don't think women ever, or people in general, don't think about the things that you like about a person. How would it feel if it got turned on you? And like, I just think that's just the things that just happen. Like, you want what you want, the when you want it, and then like you love this person. This person was the greatest thing since sliced bread. But then one thing that was said that was wrong, and now you're off to the races, and now you're in your feelings, and now, man, you just continue to go down the slope because, like you guys were talking about, you don't have resolution skills because you feel entitled to happiness every day of your life.
I think a lot of, at least in my relationship early on, and it's interesting how if one person learns how to manage themselves and their emotions to separate what's their interpretation and what's just neutral facts, that can change everything. Because I'll take ownership. I was creating fights where there weren't any, because of the way that I was perceiving things. And it's just so interesting how one person can learn tools and skills and can change everything. And of course, too, now when things do come up, and this to the broader point, I think a lot of times, just in all situations, I guess, not only with, your spouse or the mother of your child, the father of your child, or whatever. Ask yourself first, is the way that I'm perceiving this, well, how am I perceiving this? And is this serving me? Is this helpful? Is this useful? Is this helpful for this person? Do I need to go there? I think just asking that question can really mitigate a bunch of drama, because you just don't need to go there if it's not helpful.
Yeah, Coach K, I agree with that. I think that's excellent advice. And another thing, like what I tend to do is like say, I mean, people gonna have emotion, they're gonna feel different ways, right? What I would do is I try to sit on something. If I start feeling away, I know decisions made out of emotion is terrible decisions 95% of the time, right? So I just remove myself, step back, and think about it, and then think like, is this logical? Is what I'm thinking is occurring or could occur, or if what I'm feeling is this really the person's intent, right? And before you get to a point where you say something that you don't mean or that's extremely hurtful that you can't take back, sometimes you just got to take a step back, ground yourself, and then re-engage that conversation. Because if you liable to say damn to anything when you upset, and you can't take some stuff back. That's how people get told that ain't your child. She was mad and this ain't your child. You can't take that back for the rest of the child life. Even after the paternity test, she was cheating on me. And she just said that because she was trying to find something hurtful to say. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you just got to step back and ground yourself and then move forward in the conversation. But like you say, I think the reason that, because I'm not the person that's going to engage and bicker back and forth. So my expectation that nobody should be fighting in a relationship, but it might just take one person. But it's great when it's two people that can do it. And I think the man, typically teach that in a relationship, but that's what you call the setup.
So to that point, with single parent households, whether it's mothers or fathers, it doesn't really matter. There isn't that period where you get to step away. Right? There isn't that other person that you get to tag in to be like, all right, listen, my emotions are out of control. I need a second. I need you to take over. Right? So that's a huge part of how it affects parenting. The other part is, it's not just teaching children stuff, the do as I say, not as I do, but the other part of parenting is also modeling behavior. Right? And if you don't have a partner to model behavior with, you're missing a chunk out of that parenting that you can't substitute. So I totally agree with I guess, to your question, it absolutely affects single parent households.
So,
go
no,
ahead,
go
Shannon.
ahead, because I'm going to add to the question. I'm going to bring
Okay.
another way.
Kind of back to your question and kind of a point Marcus made also. I actually have a theory. If you have a kid, you shouldn't be trying to date until that kid is about 14 years of age anyway. I believe that there are so many as a single parent, if you are a true single parent, there are so many responsibilities that you have, and there are so many expectations that bringing in somebody else that they already carry. And you kind of, what to Marcus's point, if you have another person there, let's say that there is a co-parent situation, I'll be damned if another man is going to discipline my kid. And understanding, the growth of a child, you don't do much of the hands-on, like the spankings and the real hardcore what I call the hardcore parenting up after the age of 14, because that's when they're about to start moving through high school and they're going to end up leaving the nest. And I think at that point they've kind of grown their personality. They're kind of coming more into their own, and I think that allows a bit more flexibility when it comes to bringing someone else into your home. Prior to that, I just think that it's a bad idea to to try to date. I don't think you should be dating anyway. I think you should be moving on purpose with intent and be trying to looking for marriage. Otherwise, you're wasting your time. Just my opinion.
Well, you have to date
So
to get marriage, but go ahead.
Yeah, that's the society we live in now. I have serious pushback for that, because then you're leaving yourself in a situation where you're not modeling what healthy relationship looks like until like past their formative years, right? So a lot of, unfortunately, damage is done up until that point by doing it on your own, right? Even in
Right.
a co-parenting situation, right? I think that if you're moving with intent and dating with intention, you're able to find somebody who fits into the system you have going appropriately. And that's really when you find somebody who's a part of communication amongst the co-parenting situation, where they're not going to discipline your children, they're going to turn your children to you to get the discipline. So like, I think even in co-parenting situations, it's still important to still, because that man could turn, those men will often turn around and find a woman to take under them, whereas that woman is told, no, you have to be by yourself until those children are grown. So what is that modeling for those children who are still developing their idea of the world, right? I think that's not as productive as people say it is. I think we should be instructing on how to date better. I don't think that it's conducive to raising children to tell a woman to be alone until her children are double digit years.
I'm not just talking about a woman, but I'm I'm not just talking about a woman, but to your point, the model is already broken if you guys aren't married. The model is already bad. So if you're gonna if you don't want a revolving door, because who's to say the next relationship will work out, and the one after that, or the one after that. So that in itself is a terrible model to show your kids. However, I believe that hopefully both parents are involved. That's the hope. Both parents are involved, and if both parents are involved, personally, I don't think it's a woman thing. I think neither one should really be looking to try to date when the child is still in those formative years. You like you, I just don't think that is the next best model is to co-parent and raise the kid, and hopefully you can teach them that although I made these mistakes, your dad and I, or your mom and I, did these things to make you a productive adult, and you know that these are the things that we did wrong, so you don't make those same mistakes. But a revolving door on either end is not anything you want to show your kids either.
I think that revolving door, I do think that kids should not meet everybody that you are dating or courting. I do think that there needs to be a certain amount of seriousness that needs to take place before your kids are exposed to another person. Like, we know we're moving forward towards marriage, and then you start to introduce the kids. You can definitely date without exposing the kids to the people that you're dating, especially if you're co-parenting, because then you go on dates when the other parent has the child. But as far as emotions are concerned, let's just think more along the lines of what takes place today. um do you think, because we talk about how a lot of manipulation takes place in the dating market today, right? People are being ghosted, gaslighting, what's it, love bombing, all of these things that are taking place. So even if you are going in and your heart is pure and you're trying to find a mate, people get played all the time. Do you think that the way people play on emotions has an effect on the way you parent? Because you do take that home. You can't just be like, oh, I was ghosted, or I fell in love and he played me, and you just leave it right there. More than likely, you still have those emotions with you when you're parenting. Do you think that hinders your relationship with your child or plays a role?
I think so I think that definitely can, but it boils back to how you prioritize things, right? So if you prioritize your dating life over your kids, then you might get in situations where you be in love and you're so stricken with that you bring it home with you and you can't effectively be there for the kids, right? It's even like with alcoholics. There's some people who can drink, be functional alcoholics, and do everything they need to do, and then there's some people who, once they start drinking, everything is out the window. But the people who typically be functional, from the ones I've seen, like functional addicts and stuff, they really prioritize other things over their habit. So I think if you prioritize your kids or making sure you're there for them, you'll place that above getting extra sleep. You'll place that above shit, even a damn promotion at times. Like whatever, you get what you focus on and you pour your energy into. And if you really focusing on your kids and pouring your energy into your kids, then you're gonna get the results you want out those kids. If you make them an afterthought, like, yeah, mama need or daddy need a life too, so I'm not gonna let these kids slow me down from enjoying and living my life, kids probably gonna suffer. And I got another question though. How many people is too many people to revolving door in and out your child? Because one mom and one dad is one, right? And they already gonna deal with something from losing that relationship. And sometimes kids blame themselves. Sometimes they feel like they wasn't conceived in love and the other parent didn't want them. So all type of different things happen. Well, how many is so many that is detrimental to the child? Like, what's the number?
I don't think you should be. Again, I don't think if you're dating, you can never. You have to date to get the person. It doesn't just automatic. I wish it was like one of those things where you find a guy and it's like, oh, I don't have to move any further than this. It doesn't work that way. But I think that you should not be showing your child anybody. Nobody should be introduced to your child unless you guys are on that level where you're moving forward. Period. There's ways to keep people. I date, and I do not expose my child to people that I date. No, and they will not ever.
So I don't want to make it personal, but can I ask you a question about?
Sure.
Okay. So when they was growing up, you never brought a guy around them ever?
Layla, my daughter has not been exposed to not one man that I have dated.
Okay, that's fair.
Not one. Because I'm not married until he says, hey, we are moving it to the next step.
So
what's the next step? I'm just curious.
The next step is where it's like, I mean, we know we're the one for each other.
A man won't know that until he sees how you parent.
Well, he can see
until he sees your interaction with your kid. That's like that's one of those that like that's a tough one. I understand, because I agree with you. I completely agree with nobody should meet your kid until you're to that level. But at the same time, as a man, I'm not going to move to that level, A, if I haven't met your kid, and B, I hadn't gotten an opportunity to see you parent. Like, well, that's a big part of going to that next step.
Well, for me, the person that I date knows, when I'm on the phone, I'm in extracurricular activities, we talk a lot. He does not have to see me with her to know how I'm parenting, because he hears it. We're on the phone a lot. He knows me because we have a history, because we've known each other for years, 20 plus years. And so it's just a little different. Well, if I meet somebody who let's just say I don't know for 20 plus years. Oh, well, if you got to see my child in person, until we get to that point. And I think that that's what it is. When you're in that engagement phase, I think engagement, yes, you're moving towards marriage, but I think that engagement is that we're serious. And these are the things that we need to start, whether you move in with each other or anything else. That's that time frame where you can say, instead of just being engagement is like, oh, we're planning for a wedding. Maybe engagement should be, okay, we know that we're really, really serious. Then we plan for it. It should be stages to engagement. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So I got a question about the like, do you think that it would cause trouble with the father of the child bringing a new man in? Like, if y'all did get married, because
no.
Yeah. Do you think it would cause an issue, like bringing a new man into the home with that man's child, or he's gonna be cool with it? Have you spoken? Do you speak to them about it? Like, because we talking about co-parenting. How do you introduce the fact that you're moving on in a relationship and it be okay?
Well, I think that you start by having a great co-parenting relationship.
Okay.
And for me, it's we have a village, right? So I'm very close to my kid's side of the family, and he's close to my side of the family. My kid, he's actually married. I love his wife. you
Okay.
know? And so he knows that when I do things, I don't just pick random dude. I have a certain kind of guy that I go for. You have to have morals, values, all of those things. So I'm not just bringing any kind of in my household. You know what I'm saying? So, and of course you introduce them. It's not, it'll be
Okay, so
very.
let me ask you this: if he met him and he was like, "Oh no, I don't like this dude. He give me a bad vibe,"
I would take that
would
in
you?
consideration because I don't think he would I would take that in consideration because I don't think that he's that kind of man.
That
Like
would just say that randomly, right?
right. I don't he's not that kind. Now I know people now my situation is very different from other people's situation. This I have an ideal situation kind of so to speak. Whereas some people you got the jealousy thing, you got a whole bunch of, I don't have that situation. So
I fully understand what you mean, Miss Shan. But what I will say is most people, most women's men or ex-men aren't like yours, and you aren't like most women with cultivating that relationship. Like it is it's pretty uncommon, to be completely honest. Like most of the time I hear this crap, it's all on YouTube, of course. But when you hear it, these guys, oh hell no, ain't no man coming in and saying anything to little Susie. What? Ain't no man coming in. If I get a bad vibe, she ain't gonna marry that dude. Wait, what? You control that? Like it's crazy. It's
That
crazy
sounds
to
like
me.
a bad relationship, though, even with like which of course, perfect world, ideal world, but you would hope that the two parents can get along where there isn't that kind of energy, like, you know what I mean, before it gets to that point. But you can't control this other person. It's like, am I worried about my happiness and what I think about this person? Like, why is now when it comes to your child, yeah, it is your business, but what that person does, are you getting into their business and trying to frame it as if it's because it's concerning your child? Because if you want to be honest with yourself, let me back up. I'm not saying that what your ex does isn't your business because your child's going to their house, whatever. But if you're trying to say, oh, he can't be dating this and that or seeing this person, that's interesting. I think it just depends on the
you know
situation. Does
what?
that make sense?
It
He
does.
not gonna
Well,
But the
he
only
not
problem
thing
gonna
makes
have
sense.
him.
let me
Like what you hear is you're not gonna have him around my kids.
yeah. So
That's what you hear.
so the thing is, Coach K, unfortunately, you see TV, these incidents that take place, and nobody wants to think it'll happen to them. You know what I'm saying? And so what you do is you go into like this extreme thing. Like I'm just focusing. Like he shows a little bit of red flag. Like you can't be around my kid because at the end of the day, we don't know. We don't know if he's crazy. We don't know if, he's a pedophile. It's so many things you don't know. And you just don't want your kid to have to go through it to, for it to be one of those situations was like, it happened and now my kid, was exposed to that. So when you are another parent, you're going to look at the other parent and like, listen, look, I got to get to know this chick. Fortunately, the woman that my child's father chose she's just a great woman, but I can only imagine if he was into some of these women I see on Instagram or all these other women, I would have been like, it's a no. I don't want my child exposed to that. So I don't know.
I would need look. You can do what you want. Just give me my child. You can go live your life to the best of your ability. If that's what you
It
want to
don't
do,
work like that.
just give me my child.
It doesn't work like that. You have to have both parents.
She could come by, but
He'll come back.
she can come by whenever she wants. I got an
You
open door
sound like
policy.
these bitter women who
I'm just
don't let
saying,
the men.
look, my number one job in life is to protect my kids, right? I can't do that if I don't know what you're doing. I can't control you, right? If especially we broke up, you living your life, you doing whatever you want to do. Just live your life. Give me the kids. I personally would put them as my number one priority. So just give me the kids. Because honestly, like to keep it 100%, it would get like something happened to my kids. I'm not just gonna hurt him. Everybody that's there got to get it because this was on your watch.
Y'all
Like
all gonna get it.
I'm man.
It's serious.
No.
You guys, it is serious. I'm looking at some of the incidents that take place just being in a YouTube family, and you get the algorithm and it pulls up. You watch one and all of them start popping up, and you just like it puts this fear in your mind, so you're scared. You don't know who's around your kid. Your kids are vulnerable. And I understand what AP is saying at a certain age, because they can't fight back, and so you're really relying on the other parent to be wise in the choice of people that they bring into the household. And unfortunately, people they're not like that. They don't look at the things the way you look at it. They trust people that they shouldn't be trusted, and maybe you can see something that they can't see, but unfortunately you can't control that. So I get it from what AP is saying, I get it from what you're saying, but go ahead, Enos.
Yeah, so to like what Coach K and AT were saying, right? I think that people need to set their egos aside, right? If that person is saying that stuff just to maintain control.
I'm about to mute you, Marcus. I just want to let you know that, because
Thank you.
I'll be a secret. Okay.
So people need to set their egos aside. Like, if your ex is saying you can't be with that person to maintain control, right? You also have to set your own ego aside, that if your ex is telling you, hey, listen, that I'm seeing serious red flags that I feel like you're looking past, you need to consider that, right? Like, somebody who is in the right state of frame knows how to balance those two extremes and factor in the opinion, right? I think when we give blanket advice, I don't always think it's super productive, right? If this person is out here doing their best to manipulate the situation so that you are stuck parenting alone and are labeling it as co-parenting while not actually contributing in any sort of way, that's very different than somebody who's super involved, who is looking out for your best interest for the sake of the children. I think a lot of people forget to be selfless when it comes to children, whether it's a co-parenting situation or you're in a marriage. I think people need to let go a little bit of themselves in order to do what is best for the children. And I understand what Harrison was saying about, the relationship comes first when you're in a marriage situation, but it comes first for the sake of the children, right? Until the children are self-sufficient. And I think people forget about that part, is the purpose behind the marriage coming first. And when they don't understand that in a marriage, they definitely don't understand that in a co-parenting situation. So it is important to not only factor in what the other person is saying in a co-parenting situation, but understanding the why behind it.
We need a BDBM boot camp where we try and get people back together with their baby moms and baby daddies, so we don't even got to deal with this shit, because the two parents gonna look out for the kids more than anybody else. I just couldn't.
How about
What's so funny?
pre-BDD?
What's so funny? Like I said, my daughter has not been exposed to any man, but my son was. But he was of age. He was 14, 15, and I was in love with this guy. And I thought we decided to move forward. Just like I said, that's my rule, and that's what we were deciding to do, right? And it's funny. I swear to God, my at that time, his father came to the house, and he told me to blink twice if I was going crazy. He said, and I'm not gonna tell you the rest of the story. But anyway, I took that, I was like, are you serious? He's like, you going through something? I said, I'm not. I like this dude, and he let it go. But then I had a conversation with my son, and my son was just like, and it was over. Just like that. Over.
Now, how often
that happened?
How often? So I know for a fact that sometimes women could get so in love or get hit with, you know what I'm saying, and they will lose common sense, and they will not listen to nobody at that point. So your son could have told you that, the father of your kids could have told you that, and you could have been so in love.
I was in love, but I dropped it.
Or so
I was in love, but I dropped it.
that You was so that nothing nobody was saying could have stopped you from that. Just I don't know. Yeah, I
But
don't know,
something about
Shan.
hearing it from my son
If
that was just like,
if Shan, I'm not trying to get too personal with you. What
sure.
what did he display that they saw that you didn't see at first that led you to see it to drop the guy? Because I know we, as a, a man that was once a young kid to a single parent, there was never going to be a dude that would be good enough for my mom. So my opinion would be, yo, no, that dude ain't right. Also,
No matter
as
what, right?
no matter what, it don't matter how great he was, like fuck that dude.
So you
Secondly,
know, oh, go ahead.
secondly, as an ex, no, that there's something wrong with that dude. I'm whether there's something wrong with him or not, there's something wrong with that dude. And a lot of guys see it that way. So what is it that you saw, or did you go
I didn't see
explicitly
nothing.
off of their opinion?
I went completely off of, well, when my son's father mentioned it to me, and then my son mentioned it because my son had little that's when I was like, okay, it was like a ding 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 ding. But we were just not cut from the same cloth. So I told you I tried it. You always say that you gotta try dating something different than what you used to. I did. I mean, he was a great family guy, but we weren't cut from the
I kind of want to ask a gang of questions, but I know we on live. I'll ask you later about the details. But to AP point, like, so my father died when I was real young, right? And we was at a sporting goods store, me and my mother. This is once he's dead, she ain't dating nobody else. This man started hitting on her. And I'm like, Mom, we got to make it home before Dad get off work. You know what I'm saying? Like, knowing he's passed away already. This how much like kids be trying to protect their parents from dating anybody. So I probably was like 9 or 10 at the time. And nobody would have been good enough at that time in my mind. So I agree 100% with AP on that.
Yeah, that wasn't my situation. My son is he's very reserved. He's very to himself. So that's why I listened to him, because he's not a trouble kid, He's a really good kid. You know what I'm saying? Well, adult now, but it just made me open my eyes to see things that they were seeing. I was able to see it clearly. And they rescued me from a situation that could have I could have been stuck there.
Were they right?
Or they prevented you from having a fantastic relationship with a guy that's a little different than the kind of people you're used to dating.
I wouldn't have been happy for long term.
You'd know better than us.
I about to say you really don't know, but okay,
I
But
low key really want to ask what was
We're
so
still
different
cool,
about this
and I would have
person.
been. I think I'm happy with the decision that we all made.
yeah, what I think is really interesting is I hear this all the time when you have a good co-parenting situation, how you basically can kind of like, even though you say it is your business, but you also say it kind of isn't my business. To me, if you have that much leeway, both of y'all got that much leeway to kind of make stuff that kind of isn't your business. Like at that point, I'm kind of like, I don't understand why y'all just don't work it out if they can have that much influence. Because granted, in your situation, right? You respect this guy, he respects you, right? And for him to be able to just be able to slide through and be like, I don't know, right? To me, to have that kind of power, like there's a reason why y'all got kids. Like there's people that try to have kids. There's people that couldn't have kids even if they tried. Like, and the fact that y'all got something that was birthed from the both of y'all, that kind of like bonds you for life, right? And I understand the logistics as far as like, you know, the what's the word I want to use? Having a good, flourishing relationship. I know that's a thing that everybody wants, right? And that you would long to have, for the better everybody involved. But it's just like, to me, it just seems really weird all the time. I hear so many, oh, we're great co-parents, we're great this, and we have a great time, and da da da. We just don't work well together. And I'm just like, How in God's name can you expect
Well,
me to believe that
well, for
when
me, so in my particular case, we do work well together. But we
I
were
mean,
not.
but that's fine,
So
but
when I was
why
young,
is it
I'm gonna explain it to you. So, and I've explained this on the show plenty of times because this show was not around when we were dating. Okay, so if it hadn't been around, maybe it was have been different. But it wasn't. Okay, um, but for me in particular, we were not compatible. He is a traveler. He's a very successful man, okay? But to be the man that he is today, he had to travel from one job to another, to get his experience, which is why he is successful today. Well, I'm more of a homebody. I'm a very fixed, I've been at the same job for 21 years. I like being in the South. I don't like going from city to city, chasing, money. That's not my style. So because we were very different in the way we moved in that situation, that's what now had this been here and I had guys to back me up, maybe it would have been a little bit different. But at that point, I did not want to leave the South. My family is here. I have grandparents. I'm a very village kind of person. Okay. And even now he doesn't live here. He lives in DC. I
So
don't want to live in DC.
I will say this though. I don't think that's the definition of not compatible.
it's not?
I don't think so what it really is, and I'm speaking more to what Harrison was talking
Sure.
about, not really your situation in general. That is why most of these co-parenting situations exist. One person did not want to sacrifice anything to be with the other. Right? That's really it. It's just
Well,
selfishness
well,
at the
no,
end
no,
of
no,
the
no,
day. Well,
because
I'm not even talking about your
let
situation,
me.
Shan.
I
I'm
understand.
talking about most people anyway, because Harrison is onto something. How can people make great co-parents all the time, but not find enough purpose in making it work with each other for the children, right? So a lot of people, that I went to college with were in love with their college sweetheart. We all knew it. Y'all were compatible then. Then life got in the way, and he wanted to be a traditional man. He wanted to make usually like an honest woman out of the girl, and she's like, "Well, my career matters too. I don't want to move." Well, that's usually where we end up at an impasse because I'm doing what I think I'm supposed to be doing. I'm asking you to come with me. I'm willing to marry you, such and such. And what you really have on one end or the other, somebody saying no, right? So people, when I hear not compatible, I'm thinking fighting, arguing, um, things that are maybe not the same religion. All that type of stuff is not compatible. This person is hot when I'm cold. They don't believe in anything I believe. We don't have similar values. We're not equally yoked. That's what I think when I hear not compatible. But
So
I'll let
let me
y'all.
clarify, okay? Um, just because I know that you're not talking to me, but I just want to clarify my situation, okay? At one point, he went to law school at the University
Mhm.
of Missouri. I don't think that if I look at things the way it was, I think he's as successful as he is because he was able to move around as much as he was. He would not have been able to do that had we been tagged along with him. You understand? Now he was a great parent when he was doing it because he did as much as he could possibly do in a different state. But from hopping from one to the other, it was just like there would have been no stability. Does it make sense?
No.
So I had to stay. So listen. So even with let's just take the University of Missouri Law School,
Yeah.
full-time student on
Uh-huh.
campus. You can't do that and have a full family. You just can't.
No, no. So Shan, you're talking to somebody whose uncle had
So,
four kids and he was in
I'm,
medical school. Like,
listen. Okay. I understand your situation, but I'm telling you how we were thinking at that time. Okay.
yeah.
So I had my thing here. I just picked up another job. I was very supportive. I could be as supportive as I could possibly be from afar. Okay. So then that went to going to New York, which went to going to DC, which went to going North Carolina at one point. It was a lot. And I'm not comfortable jumping around like that. Okay.
It,
Yeah.
That's
I mean, we made an allotment for that. We said one person is not willing to sacrifice, and that's usually where the impasse happens. So yeah,
well,
we were saying the same thing.
I
can
think
I ask
both
you this?
were not willing to sacrifice.
Wait, hold on, because this is the part that's really interesting, and that So essentially, what you described, I guess this is your child's father, right?
Mm-hmm.
What you described him as is a high value man. What is all women saying they want right now? So somebody is going to be willing to do all of that because that's usually what women have to do to get one. If we're being honest, if y'all were younger, you have to move around with him. You have to step out on faith. My wife moved to Houston for me. She won, right? So it's like most women have to do that. And right now, have you ever, let me not even to be too personal, have you ever just for a sliver of a second thought, what would my life be like had I to sacrifice that? Would I still be married to a high value man? You never think that?
No. No.
Okay. She capping, but okay.
No, I swear to God, because there, yeah, I think
Hold
in
up.
between there were so many opportunities. Like at that point, high value man wasn't even a thing. Like I've never, if I take out the situation, I've never not dated a high value man besides, you know, if you all of the things that you call a high value man, I've never dated anything outside of that. Okay, so to pinpoint one who's my child's father, yes, I've taken the high value out. Going back, if anything, I do regret having a kid out of wedlock. That's what I regret. If you want to get me on regretting something, it's not because of his job or what he does. It's simply because, yes, ideally, I would want to be married to the man that I have children with. And Marcus, I think that's you. I'm sorry, I will mute you.
I might have YouTube.
But so that's where you can get me, the gotcha. Like I should have been married before I had kids, and that's the regret that I have, because I do think that raising kids in a home with two parents is so much more productive and better for the kid than otherwise. So
I had to go get my hat, Shan. Hold on, I'm gonna restart. See, does this mute can come off? So I'm gonna call back in. But I think he was capping too.
What you mean?
And left.
Capping for what? What part?
And
He can come back. But yeah, that's the only thing. I enjoy our relationship. I love the fact that we can just trip out. I love his wife, love her. You know,
Shan, I ain't trying to hear that. You supposed to be his wife. I ain't trying to hear that you love his wife. I ain't trying to hear it. Not trying to hear it. You want to be honest? You want to be honest? You want to really be honest? There are men who go through. Let me try to search my memory banks. There are men that go through what you say your ex went through with you, that will get drunk and maybe we're being a little mischievous or somebody saying, "Damn, why didn't you marry such and such?" I got somebody like that. That my own brother would be like, "I just really want to know. Everybody in the family know because we love your wife. We love her. We love her." But they'd be like, "Did you ever think about what it would? Why didn't you marry such and such?" Okay, and this is what I'm telling you. He even thinks it himself, right? Because this is what it was. When a woman has your child, especially your first child. Did you have his first child? Oh, okay. When a woman has your first child, I think most men see that woman forever as a part of his story. And you not sacrificing for him to be his wife, it ruined his perfect story. So even he created a life outside of you. He's married, he got all this stuff. I bet you when he sees your face, it's like a little glitch.
Funny that you say that, because I have
my story up.
It's so funny that you say that, because I put my little birthday thing up and it had like all my pictures, and he calls me. He's like, "Wait a minute, why am I not in one of those pictures? Like I'm like a part of your." He's like, "You're not gonna be you without me." And I was like, "Why get on my face?" But anyway, we just joke around like that. No, we're good.
Every once in a while, joking. Sitting down, sipping a margarita, and he's just blank like. I wonder what could have been.
Have you ever dated seriously an attorney? Like yes. Y'all feel on.
I have.
So you already know how they debate and they come in. You like you can't win a conversation.
Not only did I
why
date
you trying to win a conversation with your
exactly, man? And not only did I date one, I used to find it hilarious. It's like, oh wow, y'all even talk to your significant others like this. That's crazy, right? But
you can never win a debate. It's like,
why are you trying to win the debate? It's a part of who that person is, right? It's a part of who they are. So you learn a way to communicate with them. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's a problem that they're highly they like to debate a lot. The thing is it just makes you more accountable to your words, and then they make sure that you answer questions. If you don't answer the question, they're gonna be like, you said a whole bunch of stuff and still did not answer the question, or you said something that made absolutely no sense, and now they're looking at you
See,
like you done lost your
as the
mind.
baby mama, I can be like, ah, la, 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 I'll call you back. As the wife, I gotta sit there and like, what?
Yeah, I mean, but listen, it's tough at times, but to me, I like listening. And if you tell me that I didn't answer the question and I thought I did, listen, I could be humble enough to turn around and be like, you know what, you're right, I didn't answer that question. Let me get to that. I just think that sometimes when you date certain people like lawyers and attorneys or people that they're like really stuck on a point, like sometimes we just don't want to be humble enough to be like, you know what, you're right, I didn't answer it.
I am. Listen, I don't like confrontation. So I'm always like, oh, you're right. You're right. Oh, you're right. You got it. I'm not doing it. I do not like to argue. I stray away. I will hold something in just so I don't have to argue with you. I just like, okay, I'll just compromise because I don't feel like if it's an argument, it's something dear to my heart. Like you cannot change it because I hate confrontation. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I'd rather
Do you have
just compromise.
siblings?
Huh?
Do you have siblings?
Yes.
What order are you in the?
I'm the baby.
That's
I don't like
interesting.
confrontation.
It's usually the middle child that doesn't like confrontation.
Okay, moving on. Anybody else wanted to add to that? I didn't want to make this about me. Anybody
Man,
else?
you should have married that
Go
man.
to the baby daddy, baby mama boot camp and make the relationship work is the end of this segment.
Well, he's married now, so yeah. Oh, for sure though. Ideally we want people to, if you're out here just sleeping with people, use a condom. But if you guys are in a relationship, and let's just say, because a lot of kids are produced from people who are actually together, make it work. Go to the boot camp that Marcus is talking about and make it work. Ideally, that's
But
what you want.
you're not even participating in the camp.
Who, me? Well, he's married
Yeah,
now.
you.
I clearly said, hey, you
He
two
get
been
divorced,
around.
sir. You see them Tyler Perry movies?
Whoa. Let's not break up two families. There's another solution. Hold on. There's another solution.
Oh, you beat me to it.
All right, you got it, Mike.
So Marcus,
Nah,
I have a
dog.
question. Right, because this boot camp idea, I think it could potentially be a good idea. But what happens if there's like multiple baby daddies, I know your answer for multiple baby mamas, but multiple baby daddies. How are we handling that situation?
So the first one, she go be with that man, and then she get the rest of the kids to their father.
What?
I like it.
That
That's
was
some
pretty
African shit
quick.
right
He's
there.
like, listen,
Yo,
I like it.
let me just say this. Let me just say this. Most of the time, it's the man with multiple kids.
Polygamy today,
Oh, so
polygamy
now it's
tomorrow,
polygamy.
polygamy forever.
That would be wars within the households. I don't think it's a good idea, Marcus, but that's just me. People are just messy out here. And people are having kids which is their fault, but having kids when they don't even know each other and then forcing them into like a shotgun marriage, I don't think that's going to work, and it's going to affect the kids all more than it already is.
They're in a marriage by having that kid, like whether they like it or not, they're in a contract, they're in a
And hold on, how many people go to a job every day they hate for 30 years and make that shit work? You can't make something work for your kids for $800 every 2 weeks. You gonna make it work, but you won't make it work for the sanctity of your kids. People confuse me. I swear.
That's true.
I swear.
Man,
I do think, let me
this is what
emphasize that I do think, had you two been around back in the day, I think that for all of us, had it been around back in the day, we would have made different, because you have people to talk to, you have more people to understand other people's ideas and how they think, I think that would just be different. I can say that.
You need to get on the phone with your husband and tell him you're sorry. That's what you need to do.
You said what now? What you say?
No, she got to call the
You didn't call
wife.
your husband.
The
He
wife.
waiting on you. He been waiting for all these years. Call him right
Mike,
now.
she has
But
to call the
I,
wife and work out an
but
arrangement.
I
I'm not
think
You're right.
that can we get
You're
off
right.
of her situation because I feel like we don't want
Yeah,
to be
yeah,
doing
yeah, yeah.
that
You're
to
right.
her. But I think that there's also I'm trying not to be too idealistic, but there's also co-parenting situations, and I might be biased because my sister has a situation that it was definitely messy, but now it works so well. Her baby daddy is remarried, she's remarried, she's pregnant. So and it's awesome because
There
of
are no
course my
feelings
sister,
involved.
right, they've gone to a good place. She's cool with his wife now and things like that. I cannot imagine them being not forced, but if they got married, first of all, I love my brother-in-law and stuff. I just no. I'm trying
Yeah.
not to use my own, experience to formulate how I don't know. I can't.
I
don't
think we
it's a good
just gotta
idea.
stop. People just gotta stop having unprotected sex with people. You
People ain't
gotta,
gonna
you
stop
gotta
doing that
stop. I
because they
know
like
they're
to have
not
sex
going
too
to, but
much.
we like to preach the right way here. Okay, now that we know better, we
Do
want to
we?
always promote doing better.
Do we?
Yeah, we do. We know better. We just don't do better. There's a difference. You can know.
Fair. I'm with that.
So, did anybody else want to add to this? So we're gonna jump it, and then we're gonna jump to something else, and we're gonna jump back because it's gonna be a different kind of angle to it. Okay.
I
Anybody else
just,
want
I
to add?
just, I just think Marcus is onto something.
Which part?
Boot camp
That's so silly.
And polygamy.
and I was vehemently against it at one point.
It makes sense, bro. If you weigh the pros and the cons, and if you actually think about the children and what they need, there's no way you can make a valid argument against it.
Look, hold on. Let me just say this real quick. It's legal to create a family, break that family up, and then create another family, but it's illegal to keep all those families together. How does that make sense?
Do you sit down somewhere and just write down all of these points? Because no, it's an excellent freaking point. That was probably the best one I've ever heard. But are you like
people have to
creating
willingly?
punchline?
I think that people would do that if they wanted to willingly do it. You know what I'm saying? It's people in multiple relationships right now. It's side chicks and all kinds. It's men with
But the
lots
reason
of
People
why
are
they
not
don't
intentional
do it,
with that.
It's their ego, Shin, that's in the way.
yeah, that's what I said. They
Because
just
if
don't
you
want
look
to.
at it, anyone that says co-parenting or multiple baby daddy or whatever, you're already in a polygamous relationship when you really want to be honest. If
No,
you don't marry the person you
you're
have a child by,
Well, you're
and that
just not
person
interested
has a child by
sexually.
somebody else, and you're already agreeing to like this is major reasons why I don't want to get divorced. I don't want to deal with that stuff.
Yeah.
I don't because I don't
It's
want to deal with
sad,
another
yeah.
man living with my I don't want to deal with
it's a lot
any
of
of that.
drama, like
You see what I'm saying?
unnecessary.
So
Like, yeah.
if you leave someone, you should take all of this into account. That you're in a preliminary type of sense agreeing to a polygamous relationship because there's
No,
going to be all type of say so coming from someone else that you don't know. And the reason why I say that, is because most baby moms are still smashing their baby dad. That's really why I say that.
so okay, even if that is true, right? Like I think sometimes we do this thing where we like to put things in boxes that they don't belong in, and then it taints that thing, right? Like because that's not how polygamy actually works. By selling that as a form of polygamy, it turns people off of polygamy instead of understanding the true nature of polygamy, right? That's my only pushback about it, right? That has its own term. It's not polygamy. So we need to leave people who practice polygamy the way it's supposed to be practiced and separate.
No, you're right. And I didn't mean in the practice of it. What I mean is that technically what people are what women are doing when they don't stop messing with the man who had a woman, like the way women behave, they're giving a preliminary agreement to polygamy, right? The way women behave in today, and not that it actually should work that way or that it's the traditional way it should have been done. I actually understand the traditional way, and then I go back and look at my family history and just ask questions like, oh shit, he had how many? Oh damn, I didn't know. So I know the way it's really supposed to work. But I can also make a strong argument that a lot of modern women have preliminarily agreed to.
So, okay. So if it's like a side chick thing, that's one thing, right? Even though I don't agree, I can kind of hear the argument. But let's also be honest that some of these men are out here pretending like you're the only woman I'm smashing. So women aren't like those women in those situations aren't actually committing to polygamy, right? And this is why we need to differentiate the two.
Yeah, I'm not even talking about those women. What I'm saying is that the same way a woman says she doesn't know a woman that hasn't been cheated on, most women also don't know a woman that hasn't slept with a married man. So these women will literally fall in love with married men. You see what I'm saying? Know that it's taboo. Know that they shouldn't be doing it, but continue a relationship, whether it's work husband, whether it's dude on the side, whatever, they will willingly fall in love with a married man. So I think that they agree to it.
I don't know any woman.
In earnest, too. They fully agree to it until they realize they can't rip him from her. They just gotta, that's the part where they get selfish. But
yeah, I just think it's
I
just
would
the
like to
economy.
say that this moment that I'm happy to say that I don't know not one woman who is dating a man who has dated a married man, and maybe they have, and they just don't want to tell anybody.
Yeah, they
But
probably didn't tell you whatsoever. It was like they
sorry,
taking that.
you live in Atlanta. There is no way.
I said
That's
I don't know any. That's not to say that I know they exist.
They haven't told you. Just say they haven't told you because you live in Atlanta.
Oh,
That's
I'm
all
sure.
I'm
My neighbors. Well, no, my neighbors are married. All of them.
You know what? Come home from work early and figure out why there's a car parked 3 doors down from your neighbor at the same time every day, and it's in front of your house.
All of our driveways.
Watch your Ring doorbell. I do that because I work from home.
All of our driveways.
My office is right here in the front of the house, so I see everything. Yes, Eduardo's wife is getting knocked down.
I can't see.
Hope ain't no Eduardo on your block.
Not
Eduardo. His name is Eduardo.
All right, you guys, let's move on. Did anybody want to add to that before I went to the next one? We're gonna jump around. We're gonna come back to this though, but just in a different manner. Okay, so.
Do men mate for life, or are we just losers in loyalty?
I think that men value the foundation and stability that a woman provides, even if you don't even like her. Just that foundation, knowing that you got somebody that's there.
Sometimes for y'all to be this pillar of masculinity and strength, y'all really the weakest link.
We're weak.
Y'all are the weakest link. And it's like, I don't like her. I can't stand her, but I need her. Mm-hmm. Why? It's like, stand up. If your woman leave you today, you're going to find a replacement, or you're going to lean on your mama, your sister, or your children.
Women add color. Men, we're just like the boxes, the lines. They fill in the all of the spaces. Mm-hmm. Like, we'll just live a very skeleton type life. Mm-hmm. They add meat to the bone.
We do add meat to the bone now. Y'all are pretty black and white.
Can somebody explain what I just saw, please?
Color.
What is a loser in loyalty?
I need somebody to explain it,
bro. Listen, bro. They be watching us. They be watching us on YouTube, and they try to copy the metaphors we put out, and they can't do it, bro. That's what it is.
Hang on.
Go ahead,
like, I don't. In one sense, I don't disagree with what was said, right? And before y'all jump down my throat, hear me out. There are a whole lot of men who feign being capable of being monogamous when they are honest with themselves, don't want monogamy. So if you are not honest about the things that you truly desire, you are a loser to loyalty, because you are not being honest to yourself, and you are not being honest to the people that you are messing around with or getting in relationships with, right? That also makes you weak. If you can't stand and blatantly say the things that you want with certainty, with vigor, and the non-negotiables stay non-negotiable, that makes you weak, right? I don't think it's a conversation of like, if you are a monogamous man and you are capable of that, and then like you do otherwise, you also don't stand on your word, right? So I think, as crazy as they stated it, if you are not standing on the things that you truly believe in, if you are not exercising the things that are non-negotiable to you, if you are settling for somebody because you quote unquote need them as a man, you become the weak link. And so stand on what you mean, right? If you want multiple people, do it. If you don't want marriage, don't do it. If you want children, do it. Like, I think there are a lot of men now who, under societal pressures, feel the need to say and pretend to be things that they are not actually. And it puts women in a precarious situation. If you are really the bone, if you are really the box, if you are really the structure, stand on what you say. So I don't fully disagree with what they said in the video.
I
I
agree with what
will.
you
Is that what
said. I
is that?
disagree with them though. Like
Is it
how
yeah,
they
yeah,
said that
like because
shit
I
is
Yeah.
didn't
like,
understand. I didn't get that from the video. I didn't understand any of it.
No, I think what I was just saying is true for some men, but I would flip that. I would absolutely flip that. Because if you do a deep dive into women's behavior and what they want now that they're making money, now that they have their own jobs, I would say we are either equal or women have surpassed men in being losers of loyalty. Who's out here filing for divorce? It's not men. So the point that I will make is that I think some men don't have the ability to think outside of being loyal because they really got married to get regular sex. Maybe that's one thing. They're trying to be honorable to a situation or establish honor in a situation they created, most notably getting a woman pregnant. That is usually why man will be like, all right, well, I gotta lock it down now. I either gotta keep tradition going or try to create the family I never had. That's what most men will do. But there's also um the fact that now I don't think women are the ones looking at monogamy like it's what's best for them. I think they're yearning to have the Kim Kardashian lifestyle. I can have multiple men, nobody's going to say anything. If I get divorced, there is no penalty. As a matter of fact, I can come out on top, right? So I don't know, I would flip that completely around and say I disagree.
Sugar Mike, I got a question for you. Um, this is a two-part question. Do you think most men willingly agree to monogamy? Like that's really what they want to do?
Let me Oh, that's I forgot what I was going to say. Yes, but let me explain why. I believe in the beginning sense, yes, they're doing it because they're in love with the woman.
Mhm.
But what also happens, I think men agree because even though a lot has changed with women, what hasn't changed is that women are actually messy. Side chicks and all that type of stuff, those are messy situations, extremely messy. So when you do it, you have to realize that men with children make decisions permanently. So I know a lot of men that be like, man, when it was just me and her, it was cool or whatever. Then she started tripping. And I was about to step out on her, but then we had them two kids, and you see what I'm saying? So I think right around the time a man sees his legacy get established, he's far more loyal than he would have been had it been just him and the woman. And Enai's got to disagree.
No.
Hold on,
Yeah.
let me
One
ask the
one
last part to that question. So if they do you think it's any validity to her statement that by not being able to voice what we actually want or desire, that we are in a way weak?
I think men are like grossly so think about it this way. We've been conditioned in society. So I think if we were making an argument against what's natural, then yes. Most men won't say I'm not going to give in to my natural desires and tell her out of fear of losing her. But I think men have been so conditioned in a civilized society to be like, if I do anything, I'm going to get ostracized out of society, branded with the bad name. And most men will actually, in order to fit in. So this is why I had said in the workplace, women are far more nasty. They make the whole sexual harassment argument about men, but women are the biggest sexual harassers at work that I've ever seen. And I worked in medical field because most men will realize if I say anything or I make a pass at somebody and that shit go the wrong way, they're immediately going to HR. That's how most men feel. You see what I'm saying? So it's like I'm not going at her here. I'll wait till she says something, right? That's how most men conduct themselves at work. It's just that occasional creep that can't hold it in that gets everybody branded as you niggas is nasty, right? So Go ahead, Inaz. I know you want to chop my ass up on this panel. I'm here for it.
No. We all know I don't move like that. But barring the like extremes, right? Like talking about the majority of people who fall in the middle, right? Well, we say like these women don't have loyalty because they're leaving these marriages. My question is like, if men are being conditioned to not be honest about their wants, their desires, their non-negotiables, who's really setting the relationship up for failure, right? Whether it's polygamy, whether it's boundaries, whether what respect looks like, whatever it is, right? Who's really setting the relationship up for failure? Is it the person that quit, or is it the person that set up a system that was doomed to fail in the first place? Because we have this conversation like women are always at fault. And I understand that women have their part. I'm not absolving women of their part, right? But we also have to negotiate. That we also have to acknowledge the fact that if men are the leaders, if men are the backbones, if men are the ones who create infrastructure and structure, right? How did we get to that place? What's men's role in that?
I think
I
a
drink to that
percentage.
point, Enos. Y'all go ahead.
Yeah, I will say I think a percentage of it's men not telling women what they want and not being open and upfront. I think that is a percentage of women having to take the eventual step of I got to divorce this man because he is just doing what he wants with completely disregarding all the vows that are taken. But I think a larger percent of men actually took vows that and we actually understand what that means. I think in a family structure, men are the ones that establish honor. All a man, especially in our women aren't really privy to these conversations, but in the conversations with men, if I want to get slapped in the face verbally real quick, let me go tell my homeboys about my problems. They're not going to be on my side if I did something wrong, right? You're going to get a huge dose of nah, my dude, you gotta fix that. You wilding out here. So most men are always being pushed to stand on their honor. So it's not necessarily not telling the woman what they want. You said you was gonna do it, bro. This is your kids are involved. They at stake, bro. That's what you're going to hear. So we practice a wait and see. Well, stuff is bad now. Let me just wait and see. Let me hold it out. Let me keep honoring this situation for the children's sake. Let me do what the vow. Well, let me do what I vowed. I said I was going to do rather than quit. So I think a larger majority of the men do that.
So this is my last comment in this back and forth, right? Like you do this thing with us on this panel where you say you women specifically on this panel live in a particular type of bubble, and so that doesn't apply to the vast majority of people. Because I see Marcus nodding as well. I genuinely believe that y'all live in a bubble where you are surrounded by men who do that for you. I don't think that's true for the general population. I think that there are a lot of men out there who put batteries in each other's backs of like, nah, you know how women are. You know, this and that and whatever. Once men start complaining to their homeboys, it's not every man that's going to be like, listen, you're the man, you need to fix this. Quit complaining to me. There are a lot of men out there who like cheerlead these issues, right? So I think if you remove yourself from your bubble, that you'll see, because like here's the thing, there are a lot of women who've been around other men having these conversations. I know some of y'all think that like women aren't privy to these conversations. We hear and we're able to distinguish the men who like have a flock and the men who, you know, just have cheerleaders. So just remove yourself from your bubble and just take a look at the general population.
Let me say this real fast. Yeah. Mike, come on. You know that a lot of men don't move like you. Let's just be look. So you know a lot of men who do. Yes.
No, it's not that. It's not that. So that let's say the super competent, super accountable man. Let's say that's what you're calling our bubble. Mm-hmm. I'm not even talking just about those men. So let's just be real. There are women who suggest that women should do what pretty much all women suggest that other women.
Let's stick with men right now.
No. I said pretty much. Well, I have to do that to make this point. Okay. Pretty much all women will tell them friends to do what makes them happy at some point when they've expressed too much discontent with their situation. Well, you have to do what makes you happy. And I've even seen some women, let me say, some women do that in terms of cheating. A woman will come clean to be like, well, I did this to my husband. And another woman will basically justify why she should, well, you have a life, mama got to have a life too. He's always at work. Now bring it over to the men's side. I've never had a homeboy that does that. I
I've
don't
never
even think
had a
Pookie.
homegirl that
I
does
don't
what
even
you just
think
said.
Pookie doesn't even actually do that. So even when men are at their worst, we don't give advice to each other the same way women do. Like if you go out, because usually I think when a man gets busted for cheating, it's actually a surprise to his homeboys. It's always been a surprise to me.
Listen, I have look. I have seen situations where men have brought the mistress to parties with their homeboys.
Black men don't
they
cheat.
know the side chick. Like they chill with the side chick's house away from the wife. So you're not gonna sit here
But
and
I'm
act
saying
like
they didn't help him make the decision to cheat. They not like I don't men just don't go that far with it. Like you literally would be
Trigger
so in
Mike.
fact, we gotta let them in on the convo. Hold on, Harrison, AP, Marcus. Won't
this is
we
not
be
the house
talking
of
to each other
five.
like, look, you're not gonna say nothing. You're just gonna be like, hey, this nigga tripping. Like, yo, do you
Y'all
know
be
I
friends
have
with the
alpha
side chick.
brothers.
Like
Wait,
you got some
Like, yo,
friends.
this
Trigger
nigga
Mike.
tripping. But what yeah.
Trigger Mike. You don't hear. Oh, you lost your mojo. You ain't the same man you used to be. Oh, you need to come out. There's all these girls out. You'll hear those comments. Stop. That's cap. I need to get a cap just for this show. Like,
Yes, please go
men
get one.
do it.
Cowboy cap.
Well, I think that there is something to
Marcus,
be
put that shit down.
understood
Put it
that
down. I know what you're doing.
depending on what season that you're in, your age group, and all your circles aren't the same. There's some brothers that are tight, that are accountable, that are in your circle, and there are other brothers that ain't, that you're not that tight with, but you know how they operate. I would say that there is validity on both sides. That listen, men and women, they co-sign some pretty terrible behavior. I will agree. Every brother has known, or they had a season in their life where, yo, I'm just about to go and smash, or I'm talking to this girl, and this girl, and every guy has the game of being like, yo, if you on speakerphone, don't say XYZ. Every brother's got a situation or had a situation where they know, like, hey, listen, you going to co-sign or not mess up this man, even though you know he's probably doing something he's not supposed to be doing. But also, I believe, to trigger Mike's point as well, is that just like Anaz says, we are supposed to be the leaders, even if we're not the leaders. Even if we're not good brothers or nothing like that, we're still going to be held to the standard as if that's what we should be. So a lot of brothers try to own up and follow that part of the thing, and they will try to continue to maintain that idea of honor, even if they don't want to. So actually, sometimes I don't think being strong all the time means that I say everything that I want to say and I do everything that I want to do. Because truth be told, if I did and said everything that I want to do, I would cause a lot of destruction. If I seen this dude on the street and he said something disrespectful to me and I go and smack him in his face, I could be causing a lot of issues. So yes, it sounds nice just to be like, well, I'm a man, I say what I want and I do what I want. But if brothers truly would do that, there'd be a lot of people dead. There'd be a lot more kids. There'd be a lot more damaged relationships if we truly did everything we thought to do. As a smart man, I think that you should be able to assess the risk of the situation. I don't care what kind of man that you think that he is. If he's not smart enough to sit here and think about the consequences, if I should say this and what this is going to do, listen, like, yo, sometimes you realize as a man, what you want ain't really what you want. And that you will literally not say certain things just so that you can maintain what little bit of peace and happiness or joy that you can even find in your life. Because, bro, truth be told, men and women are off the rails right now because they're entitled in this world. We've become more selfish. We want what we want when we want it, and we do what we want when we want to, and can't nobody tell us nothing. And now that we have the situation that we have, we wonder why we got all these problems. Problem is listen, sometimes you just need to shut up. Stop saying all the stuff that you really want to say. Just sit down, shut up, be quiet sometime.
But that's
So I
not.
want to piggyback. I want to piggyback off what you just said, because that's what I was talking about earlier. When you in the moment and you can't let your emotions override your logic, right? So sometimes you do got to step back and hold stuff in. And that's not to say you don't address stuff, but it like I know we say all the time in spaces like men talk to each other however they want to talk to them. Tone don't matter. You the tone police, but that shit do matter, right? Because it's a difference between what's up, Joe, and man, fuck you talking about what's and you the tone is the same words, different tone, and one is call to action, another is just saying hello, right? So you could want to ask a question and be upset, and it come off like you attacking a person versus really having a general constructive conversation. And I think it's an underutilized skill and art form to be able to communicate with people in a way where they don't always feel like you're trying to be an aggressor to them or you're trying to attack them. And I think a lot of times we use like, I'm a man, so this is how I speak, right? But if you was in fear of the man in front of you, you wouldn't talk that way. So why talk that way to somebody you think you bold, you know what I'm saying, that you tower over? To me, I try and treat everybody universally with a level of respect, even though most people, yeah, I try and treat everybody with a level of respect. And I don't have a lot of those issues based off of that. You know what I'm saying?
You have to have awareness, first of all, to know how you're acting currently, in order to make those changes. And I think that's a great point, Marcus. But I will say the people have to be consciously aware, because we're so used to doing what we do, talking how we talk, that we don't even notice that maybe we could be switching things up, or that we could switch things up or change and talk in a better way, more productive way. But that's why you have to create awareness first. Just to add that to your point, Marcus.
So I just wanted to clarify, like the stance I took was not about saying everything and anything, right? That was not what I was saying. What I said in my original statement was things that matter. What respect looks like, what non-negotiables are, the things that you require for a relationship, right? Because if people are going to say whatever they want, that's super disrespectful. That's not conducive to community, family, anything that society values, right? But as a man, as a leader, as a provider, as a protector, as a backbone to society, if you cannot stand on the things that are the most important to you and communicate those things clearly, everything else is set up to fail after that. Everything that you build on top of that is set up to fail. And so I'm imploring men to be bolder about the things that matter most to them. The petty stuff, the little stuff, it's up for negotiation on how you want to communicate it, if you should communicate it, right? I think people are very capable of, with the right tools, of discerning those things, right? But when it comes to foundational stuff, people need to be more honest and transparent and not allow society to bully them into something that they don't truly desire, because it really does just set up everything you build on top of that for failure. That was my point, not anything and everything.
I
I
agree
have
with you.
nothing. I have nothing to disagree with you on. I think you're spot on. It's kind of a message I've been saying for pretty much this entire time. I completely agree. And if any man disagrees with what you just said, they're moving in a foul way, in my opinion. You were spot on.
Foul.
Great job. We
Damn
have
it, Trigger Mike.
so we have some super chats.
Me University.
My bad. Me University with the 2 ball. We appreciate you. Y'all found the overall answer tonight. Sacrifice.
Yep.
Me University again with another 2 ball. The middle child don't like being confronted. Me University again with a 5 ball. It's doomed to fail regardless without God. Split or no split. It's societal restraint in all other cases, not the amorous aspect of love. Sorry.
Thank you guys for the super chats. Anybody else wanted to add until we move on? So this, oh, I should wait.
I
Okay,
said, how you always be like, hey, anybody want to add, and then go straight into it?
I know.
Like,
I gotta. I'm sorry.
That's rhetorical. Like, anybody want something from the store? Bye.
I'm sorry.
Facts. Hey, I'm going to the store. You want something? All right, I already went to the store. Bye, bro. Bruh.
I ain't got no money.
That's true. That's true. I thought this video was so cute, so I wanted to share, okay? And just get you briefly.
I love looking at this video because this is something we talk about a lot in relationship and marriage. This is Tiger's son, and you see mannerisms that he's picking up from his father. Yes, some of his strokes are the same, probably because he actually taught him, but some of these other things that you see, his walk, his stride, rubbing his nose, are things that he picked up from observing his father over time and being with him. And the same thing happens in relationships. Your children are watching you in your marriage every day. How do you speak to one another? Are you respectful, disrespectul? Are you nice? Are you critical? What are you teaching your children about marriage?
Man, I love that.
Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah, I love it.
Can I tell a quick story? Just real quick.
Sure.
I was at work and the alarm went off on the front door and my son is walking out, right? But I'm looking at the camera and I'm like, shit, I'm here at the office. The bastard has my walk, like the whole mannerism. Walking down the stairs, I was like, wait a minute. And his car pulls out and I'm like, okay, this is an old video. I thought it was an old video feed of me. It was nuts. I was like, wow.
You call him a little bastard, though.
I can call him what I want. I got to tell you, he goes to school next week. I want to share this with you guys. I'm going to share it with the world. Y'all, I didn't know it would be like this. Next week, I'm taking him off to ECU. And I don't really want to.
So don't.
Shouldn't already pay for what?
Go to school online.
Listen, it's so funny. You'll get over it. Like I was the same way when I first dropped. When I first dropped my son off, I'm talking about. I did not want to leave Boston. I was in the airport.
Yo, y'all know y'all old. Y'all old, right?
Damn,
y'all got college.
He's a junior. I'm like
age kids. Y'all old boy.
The toughest thing for me, is, did I give him the tools
you gave
to
him
navigate as an independent adult? You know what I mean? Like, did I give him enough to where he's gonna be just fine? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I think through sometimes, like, damn, that's a lesson I learned in college. Should I tell him that? Should I give him these little nuggets? You know what I'm saying? Or did I give him those little nuggets already? It's so anyway. I just want to share that with you guys.
I love giving people their flowers when they're due, right? You've talked so much about the relationship you've built with your children that even if you hadn't, you've built enough trust with them that they will come ask you, right? So your son will do just fine.
And
that's a big thing. Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Never stop, because I'm in conflict with this clip that I saw yesterday where it was giving out the 4 phases of parenthood. And it said after 18, you're your child's friend. And I'm in conflict with that. As a Nigerian, I'm a conflict with it. But what I will say, the one stage that I do understand you need to be as a parent, you always need to be a coach. So even if you decide to be a little bit more their friend, don't ever stop being their coach. We do this thing in America where we think because a kid's 18, they no longer need direction and or won't take it. I am 36 years old and my father still unsolicited coaches me. Okay. So, never, and I'll be lying if I say, well, damn, I didn't really think about it like that. His wisdom is my benefit. The things that he goes through in a daily life, the things that he learns in his daily life, I use to my benefit so I don't have to go through the same thing. Your son can always benefit from that type of mentorship, that type of direction. So don't do that thing. I see so many parents do it like, oh, I'm free. What, free from what? Free from what? You see
Yeah,
what I'm saying? Never stop that coaching rope.
yeah, I definitely don't. I'm not taking that approach, but it's it's really, did I give him the tools that he needs to start this part of this phase of his life right, and will he be able to adjust? Because I know for the last 18 years, guess what? All he's known is pop, right? There's no pop. Can't go to mama. It's I mean, you can go, like you can call, and he's gonna be 4 hours away. So it's bro, like you got to learn this time management thing that I've been trying to push for the last 2 years. Did I beat that on you enough? Did I beat it on you enough that, hey, this is how you introduce yourself. This is how you go out and be sociable and approachable. And this is the best communication tactic. Like it's so many different things that you don't think about, or that you may take for granted as an adult because of what you've already gone through. And it's, to me, it's, did I give him enough, right? And
The thing
that's
is,
my biggest
Real
thing.
fast, AP, your mic sounds like that thing from Star Wars, that little machine from Star Wars.
There's a whole bunch of machines from Star Wars.
You remember in the 80s, the little machine back in the
Little
80s? It's like,
C3PO sounding ass.
yeah,
C3PO.
yeah.
what was the little thing called? That was the
C3PO.
last one I seen.
Is that the gold one?
The little, I'm talking about the 80s.
Or
not
the R2D2?
Oh no, that's R2D2. Yeah, R2D2 is
That is
He
a
said
good.
gold
gold.
arm. That's
All
Power
right,
Rangers.
I'll be right back.
No, the
No,
gold.
I'm
The
talking
guy
about
with the
the
eyes.
1980s Star Wars.
CP3P. Yeah, okay.
Here,
I was
here's
gonna say to AP, even though he's working on his audio stuff, the only way you're gonna find out is by your son getting out there, and that doesn't mean it's it, Yeah,
He's gonna be fine. We all go
for
through that
sure.
as parents who
The
send
fact
our
that
kids out.
I'm not a parent, but the fact that you're even asking this question is enough, to know that like you instilled a lot and you were there. And yeah. But I also wanted to add too that with the video with Tiger, which was so cute, that we do have this thing called mirror neurons. So when you see someone do something, especially your parent, you exhibit those same things. It's baked into our biology. So
Real quick, mic check, mic check. How do I sound?
You sound
It's a
good.
little bit better.
Normal.
Hold on, I can't even
Yeah,
fix this on
I thought the
mine.
video was so awesome. When I saw it, I watched it over and over again. I just thought that's such a beautiful thing. And then whoever put the little compilation together, they did it so
the music too, it just gets me, I love those.
I just wanted to share that. It didn't have I just felt it was a great time. We were talking about mothers and fathers, just to pump the fathers up a little bit. I'm pretty sure the same thing with mothers. So we have to lead by example when we're with our children. Go ahead, Enos.
No, I think this was a great reinforcement to what I said earlier about when you model behavior, children pick up after it. It isn't just do as I say and not as I do, right? Whether you realize it or not, they're absorbing everything that you do and how you do it, right? So I think this was like the perfect video to reinforce that point.
Nah, do you think that when his son start driving, his girlfriend gonna hit it in the back with golf?
All right, I guess it depends on if he cheats on her the way his daddy did.
this video. It's nice. I like the music, but it helps reaffirm something that I kind of like firmly believe. I personally would not want to deal with a woman who has a father in their child's life. And the reason being is because like this is this person's child, right? And you've been investing in this child, and you tell your child what to do because that's your child. And here you got some other brother coming out here because he's dating you, that he feel like he got to say in this child's life because he's building a relationship with you. And just a personal pet peeve of mine is just like the imprint, the DNA, the thought process, the leadership. Like, why would any other brother want to come into a place where there's already a father there? Now, granted, I understand people do that, and I don't think it's the end of the world that they do that. But to me, this is just me personally. I don't really see the value in coming in when they already have a fully invested father, and in my opinion. And because it's like, I even look at my own father. My father has been kind of here, but not here in my life. But some of the mannerisms I picked up and some of the things I do, I used to do this thing when I was driving with my lady a long time ago, where apparently this was a thing back in the day, where guys would used to hold their woman while they were driving, right? And they used to not be a center console in the older cars. And so the woman used to be able to lay down completely and they would hold their lady and they would just drive. Now, mind you, I've never seen this before. And I was doing it. And I said, oh, I got to be the coolest dude in the world. And, nobody ever does this. I'm an originator. I'm that guy. My mom heard me saying that. And she said, no, your father used to do that all the time. I never seen him do it. I never saw at any point of time, never heard of it, never seen it. And I was just like, man, it's like if we really knew how important like being connected to the people that made you is like I just can't imagine knowing that you have a fully invested father that I want to come in between you and that relationship. Because when I come responsible for this woman, I'm responsible for everything. I don't care. Your mama, your grandma, I don't care. Everybody is getting the HD smoke. You know what I'm saying? I'm responsible for all of y'all. And me personally, I just can't. I don't want to. I don't desire to. I don't think that's something that I'm going to do if I know you have a fully invested father. Like I don't want to do that.
I think that that's important. So to each his own. I don't think that people should go in trying to debo. If she has kids and the father is involved, you just have to. It's like teamwork. Just like we were saying about the job, it's just teamwork. No different from bonus fathers. People do it all the time. It's just not for you. Absolutely. But I find it so crazy that single people complain about being single and they always have something that's gonna keep them single. Like,
No,
everybody
it's not even something that's. It's
it's
actually like
something so
kudos
it's
to what
something.
it is that you're building. Like, let's
So
think
what?
about it like this: you have a person who is investing in this person that you made. You made this with somebody else, right?
Okay.
And you willing to come into that and basically like, all right, listen, you can play the little teammate thing, but it's just like, yo, like, in my opinion, like, and I'm biased because I'm a guy, right? And if I ever had kids, I don't want other people, like other men, really doing some of the things that these men are doing with my kids. Like, I don't want that. I
They're
want
not
my
trying to
child.
replace you though.
Yeah,
That's
there's
I'm
right.
not
That's
saying nobody said that. If you listen real close.
I'm
he's
listening,
saying what
but
works for him. He doesn't
yeah.
want and that's okay. But I
I
think that
would say it's not even just necessarily what just works for me. I think if you were to ask a good number of men, they don't want other men in their children's lives like that.
Yes.
but
They
you
don't.
don't get so
Yes.
unfortunately, so listen. I understand what you don't want, but the only way that you can control that is if you marry the girl. Okay, you cannot control nobody's house. Listen, the only way you can
Well, you
control
can't do that either because
listen,
women are leaving those
listen,
relationships. So
listen.
you can't do that
So
either.
the only household you control is the household you're the man of. Okay, you can't control anybody else's household. We were just talking about, yes, we want to make sure the baby is around a decent person. You give out red flags and you will hope that that person listens to you. But at the end of the day, the only household that you really have control over is your own. You understand? That's just
Well,
how it
I
works.
understand
Hey,
full
HD,
well.
let me
So
give you some. Let
it's
me give you some defense. I'm gonna be a
it's
lawyer real quick.
so
I
so
got you.
so so I
That's why
understand.
men don't leave relationships, Shan.
Hold
You said
on,
what?
but his initial point, Shan, was this. His initial point was this. He didn't want anybody controlling a household that he was in, so he wouldn't date somebody that already had kids. And if he's in a household, right, where he's in control of his household and he has to check in with another man, even from the man
He
that
doesn't.
hold on, even from the man that is in the relationship as the stepfather, having to check in with the other parent takes his responsibility from being in control of the household out of there. So HD essentially is saying what you just said. You can only be in charge of your family, and if he can't be in charge of his family, whose family is he in charge of?
One, he does not look. A man in my household would never have to consult with a man outside of a household. Period.
If his kids are in the household,
No.
If his kids are in the those are
Listen to what I'm saying. When my child is with me, she is with me. She is under my household. When my kid goes to the household, we don't consult. What goes on his household, I have no control over what he does in his household. He has no control over what I do in my household. Yes, I will give my opinion, but he does not, and nor does he even try to. It doesn't. I don't know what kind of people that y'all dealing with. It doesn't work that way.
We're not dealing with these
So
people.
this is what the large majority of co-parents are reporting. You have an amicable situation, which is great. But this is why this is the devastation of divorce and or people never marrying. This is what it leaves it open to, because what all of this custody battling and stuff is done is that women, Dusto used to come on my panel and be like, women have no incentive to not want to be with men. Of course they do. They get to control what happens in the household absent of the man's opinion. That is the number one reason most mischievous women do what they do. Because I can do it and he can't say nothing. They literally say this out of their own mouth, so we can't really dismiss it.
So again, I would not go against what you're saying, Harrison. If you don't feel like you should be that's not for everybody. It's not. I'm going to say, if you know that you can't be a stepfather, don't be one. Or in a situation where you don't mind being a stepfather.
Culturally, this is also very known in my culture. If a woman is divorced or maybe a widower or whatever, and you're going to literally be courted by another man for marriage, you actually leave your kids with your parents and or aunt, whoever will take them, to go start a family with that man. Yes, you see your kids, you do all of that, but nobody ever expect, if the children have a father that's out there living, you do not bring those kids into another man's household, because that father has to have dominion over his children. The world over understands this. You don't clash with other men and their children.
Real fast, let me just say this real fast. I get what you're saying, because I was once taught that if you're not married, those kids take your last name and they become the kids of the man of that household. That's how when I was younger, that's how it went. Okay. You sent the woman off because she had a kid, you brought her back, she got married, and now it's his. Whoever that father was, he's now gone. You got rid of him.
Yeah, women made that rule.
Well, I don't know.
Men didn't make it.
It's an old rule.
Yeah, so I hear what you're saying, Shannon. I've heard that too, but across the globe and history, what Trigger Mike is talking about has been way more predominant. But I wanted to say this, right? I think when it comes to love and romance, we talk about how women fall into Disney. I think when it comes to the sphere of influence, men kind of live in a little bit of delusion, a little bit, right? Yes, under your household, in your home, you maintain control, right? But I think this idea that there isn't ever going to be another man that has influence over your child is a little bit naive, right? Especially because most men want their sons to play sports, because we pretend like teachers don't have influence. We pretend like there aren't other adults in certain hobbies that have influence over your child. As long as they have a certain level of influence over that child and that child is buying into that influence, it's going to seep into your home. Now, can you manage it when it's in the household? Absolutely. But to think that a co-parenting situation could possibly be that much different than a coach, not really, if we're honest. A coach has a huge amount of influence, especially on young boys, right? Maybe even more so than a father, whether he's present or not. Forget the stepfather, right? Like, and if you are that father, there is still that understanding where that coach may have more influence over your child than you do. So I think that, like, when we're having these conversations, we need to be a little bit more specific, because, like, I'm going to say, for me as a woman, the way I hear it, and it could just be the way I'm hearing it, I will acknowledge that it does sound a little bit delusional.
So what I'm gonna say, I hope no man is actually means that no other man will have influence like a coach or anything like that. That is too extreme. But what I do think most men are suffering from today, and I'm talking about not my own personal experience, but experience of friends, frat brothers, and all of that. What I think the major occurrence is that women will use whatever man is living with them to make unilateral decisions for the child absent of that child's biological father. And they do it to dig at him, to cut at him, to hurt his feelings because there's now a man in the house and he pays the bills. That is what most men are going through. You already know that dude is going to talk to your children. You can't do nothing. He's going to take them to school, especially if he's the type of stepfather or whatever that makes an effort and puts his time and energy and his resources into caring for them. There's nothing you can do. But when you make unilateral decisions about that child's future, what sports they're going to play, where they're going to play them with that man and not the biological father, you got a freaking problem every time.
And all right, so let me just clarify this. If the coach want my child to play AAU, and I say he's not playing AAU, he's not playing AAU. Like, so the coach can give them tutelage, right? Nobody's against that as far as in that specific manner. But if it's a direction I want my child to go in, and the coach and I see a difference of opinion, the child won't play that sport or they'll transfer schools. I absolutely will have more control over that than that coach. So when it come to, like, I could put that child on punishment. The coach can't put my child on punishment within my house. We talking about things like structurally that you want to see the direction of your child going, right? And I can't have enough, like, so. And let's stepfather situation. Say the stepfather wanted my child to play AAU. Not saying he can't play AAU. He's not playing AAU. Like it. Plus, I got to sign off on that stuff. The guardian has to sign off. They had to sign off for us to go in the leagues. The person that's the guardian, you have to sign off on that.
Right. So, and I get what you're saying, but again, what you're asking for is so what you want is two parents to come together and say, hey, if there's disagreement, there's always one person who has more say than the other parent when it comes to custody, unless you guys have, joint custody. But in that situation, you always want to listen to the other parent and say, you know what, reasonable. If he doesn't want it, I'll take his advice, right? But when you're talking about another man being in a household and he is the man of the house, guess what? When your kid is with that man in his household, that's why you have custody. You, just like that woman can't control what you do with the kid. She may try. You can't control what she does with the kid. You can try all you want to. It just doesn't work that way. You can do it when
I don't think it's about control. I think that word is being moved around too loosely. What it is more specifically, and this is not even supposed to be really an argument, right? Most people should know that. Oh, you know what? No, that's a major decision. Let me call his father. I don't want to upset him. I don't want to make him think we're making unilateral decisions about this child's life and or future without him. Because the funniest thing is that's what women should do by default. Because the one thing you'll notice from women in general, y'all don't like to take blame for anything. So if you make a unilateral decision for a child without his father and that blows up in your face numerous times in a row, then you'll regret it. So, that's really what's supposed to happen. Be like, nah, I can't. Let me call your dad, see how he feels. And if it's a no, we can't do it. Most women don't want. That's probably one of the biggest downfalls of single motherhood is that the woman sometimes even acquiesces to just what the child wants. Because it might be a no if you ask daddy, right?
But we're not talking about, we're not talking about that. We're talking about a woman who has a man, who has a husband now. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We're not talking about the single mother.
That doesn't make that child his child.
Right. It doesn't.
Right.
But what I'm saying
We all
to
agree
you
with that.
give me a second, Kay. Because you can't in one argument say men don't want to be stepdads because you don't give them power.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the other arguments say they shouldn't have power. You understand? So
it's not about power.
So what I'm saying,
it's about respect. It's about respect.
Absolutely. So we will pray. Like, I agree with you. In an ideal situation, there should be respect. You should call the father, but we know that these are not ideal situations out there. People don't live like me. People don't live like you. Okay. So when you have a situation like that, it is unfortunate that in most situations like that, not all, most situations like that, you have to understand that when you are not the man of the house and another man is, the court is going to look at it as when the kid is with you, you are making decisions for the kid. When the kid is with her, she is making decisions for the kid. That's just how they do. Just because I've seen people say, oh, I don't want the kid to go out of town. Can you put it in a little thing? They're written. And he's like, no, when the kid is with him, as long as the kid is not being under any harm, there's nothing going on with the kid, that's his right for the kid, and vice versa.
Yeah, we're talking about two different things. Nobody's talking about average day-to-day decisions. Oh, your mom's a good woman. She's not going to let anything happen to you. We're talking about real life decisions. Marcus used AAU, right? We got really talented kids out here whom fathers wish they had custody because the mom is trying to rush to get the kid to the league because she wants some money. And the dad is like, this is not how this game is played, right? And she's not consulting him because she just wants him to go to the league and get money. So he can take care of her, right? So we're talking about major life decisions where the woman is not consulting the man on purpose because now she wants to exercise the fact that she has custody and make unilateral decisions absent of his input. That is disrespectful. It damn sure shouldn't be. It shouldn't be happening with her by herself. It shouldn't be happening with another dude that's not his father. And well, we made the decision that he should play. What? He should get stomped out in the street. If he got stomped out, I wouldn't be surprised.
So
you don't make decisions for another. That's why they do this in different cultures. Like you cannot go into. Let me put it to you this way, because it's actually. Let me put it to you frankly. A child is always his father's biological property. You don't make decisions on what goes on with my property without me.
Okay, so in your life, in your mind, but we in the reality of the situation, that's not how it works in the United States of America, and that's what
it
we
still
are.
works that way. You just got safeguard. I'll stomp something out, make it. It still works that way. It won't. I won't be offended because I'm within U.S. lines. I'm still gonna be offended.
And listen, I'm not arguing against the way people do it. Like, obviously that works for them and it works very well. But we're here, okay? And with the people we're talking to, we live in this. This is where we live, okay? So what I'm trying to say to you is, yes, I'm agreeing with you because that's how I roll. I'm not gonna make a decision, and the person who I've had in my life, I would like for us all just to get along, okay? That's why I only date men who have kids themselves, so they understand the situation. So ideally, but when we take ourselves out of the equation and we look at everybody else's life and how they are moving, unfortunately, they don't have to move that way. They don't. We will want them to, yes, but they don't have to.
Well, what I was speaking to, I wasn't talking about solely influence, because TV influence you, church, wherever you go, there's influence, right? That wasn't what I was speaking to. What I was speaking to was the fact of right, responsibility, and authority. If this is somebody else's child, right? They have the right, the authority, and the responsibility to take whatever they deem necessary to protect, lead, and guide this child. Whether it's go to this school, go to this program, do this, that, and the third. And like I said, to the point of the video, why would I want to interrupt the things that this father is doing if he's an active person in his life? Me personally, I'm not about to play teammate to this guy because it's his right, it's his responsibility, and he has authority. And like I said, it's not the fact that I wouldn't date a single mother. I just said I would not date a single mother that has an active father in that child's life, because I look at it like this: you can't serve two masters, and a house divided against itself can't stand. So if I'm telling this kid to go in this direction, and their father is telling them to go in this direction. Like, you can't understand that that's going to be a level of confusion that we don't need. The world is already confusing as it is. We got mixed up relationships, we got mixed up marriages, we got mixed up kids, we got friendships that are crazy, families that's crazy. Why would I deliberately choose to make something a lot more crazy than what it needs to be? Now, granted, are people doing it? The people are fine with it? Fine. Me personally, I don't think I would want to do that, only because, like that image, that's Tiger Woods. That's his son. He's the spinning image of that guy. And he's grooming his child. He's talking to his child. He's leading his child. And I'm like, he has right, responsibility, and authority over that child. Like I would want for my son or my daughter. Like, I do not want to take that away from another man, me personally.
Well,
But
you
that's just
wouldn't
me.
be. Why would you? Why do you think you're taking it away from him?
You're right. I'm not taking his right away because he's going to have the right regardless. What I'm
Right.
saying is, I am not going to get in the middle of that. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
And
you
I think you
anytime.
would
So
have to
yeah,
be, you'd have, I'll be real quick, Trigger Mike. I feel like you'd have to be deliberately trying to do that because if
Yes.
let's say you're with this woman, let's say you're even married to her and she's in good communication. I mean, if the father is
I
in,
don't.
which
I
you,
don't care how good communication. I said what I said, and I meant what I
yeah.
said. The
okay, well,
simple
Yeah,
fact of
we're
the
not
all
trying
right,
matter
to.
hold
We're
on
is
not
a
trying to
this.
So
change your
second.
mind.
Hold on a
No,
second.
I know. I
I'm
understand, but
speaking
I'm
to
just.
a different situation. So, or a different side of it. Regardless, you feel however you feel. I'm saying so the father, which the father is in this child's life. He's a great father. He's in every aspect of it. And I would imagine the mom also seeing the child having, I don't know, joint custody. I don't know what their situation is. This is all hypothetical. They are communicating, okay, hey, little Timmy has tryouts, whatever. He doesn't want to do this. What do you think? I don't know. I'm just throwing something out there. I cannot imagine that stepfather saying, "Oh, the dad doesn't want him to play.
Well,
He's
he's playing
playing."
anyway. Yeah.
Right. Like I would say
You're
like he
completely
said,
missing the point.
no, I'm not speaking to your point. I'm saying my own point. And I saw in the chat, and I agree with Isaiah, the stepfather should take a back seat the whole time. He is only holding up, the principles or whatever that the mom and the biological father they already have together. He's just on the side basically when it comes to whatever influence, whatever type of thing. He's not anything, I already said that's it. And no, I'm not a step parent, but my twin sister, she's been in this situation. That's all I'm saying. But I'm just using my point of view. That's it. That's my perspective.
Listen, I
I personally think,
understand the point of
real
view.
fast. I personally think that when you have a household and you have a kid, if you have a kid in the household and that kid has a parent who's involved, let that situation, your place in that household is bigger than that. I think we're so focused on that kid. What about y'all's kids? If y'all have kids together, now you have 3 other kids, and you don't treat that kid any different than you treat the other 3 kids, right? You still have, you can still discipline him. You can't act a fool in your house. He has to have respect for you when you go places. When we're talking about major decisions, like, what is the big deal? Call the dad up. Make sure you guys on the same page. These are not things that happen every single day. They happen like once every, so often. It's not like you're calling him every day, like, hey, he's like constantly you controlling your household. Like, it doesn't work that way. Like, these things come up.
Listen,
There's so very little,
I
the few
understand that,
times that
but
those
like I
things come
said,
up.
I understand that. I understand what you're saying, but I'm telling you, and you guys already understand. For me, that don't make any viable sense to me for you to have a fully invested father in this child's life, and now I'm coming into the mix.
Mhm.
To me,
So
it
it
just
just makes, Harrison, it makes the most sense ever. After this brief discussion we've been having, we need to look into the custom when a woman is looking to get into a relationship with another man, whom especially she may have children for. Just give the children you currently have to their father if it's an option. You just avoid this shit. Now it makes perfect sense why all over the world children are viewed as biological property of their fathers. Men feuding over how children should be raised it's not the way it should work. It's not the way it should work. Look at all species. A lion will come over there like, well, this is a good lion. He's not bad. I don't have feelings for her. Let that man watch another man whooping his kids. He's gonna kill that man. Like we just gotta stop this. Like,
how about
just
this?
get them kids to their daddy and be done with it.
Let's snip it all.
Run
in the
him
bud.
his kids.
Let's nip it all in the bud. Stop having sex with women who ain't your wife.
The kids are already born, Shane. The kids are already born, Shane.
So moving forward.
Goalpost.
Moving forward.
Let me move the goalpost real quick. I'll be right
moving forward for the new generation of people. Listen, moving forward for the new generation. I'm gonna go back to this thing, but y'all don't want to hear that. Moving forward, how about everybody just stop having sex with people that they don't want to marry, they don't want to be in a relationship with? How about that? Y'all don't want to hear that part. You know what I'm saying? Y'all just from this point on, you don't have any kids? Close your legs.
Are any men though, aside from the father, allowed to have any, like, I'm not saying say or influence, but are we like, are coaches allowed to be cool with the kids or anything? Like, I'm
teachers.
Look,
we got more control of you kids for 8 hours than you do.
Yes, I'm trying to understand because I agree. Like, I'm 100% with you guys in terms of the father. Like, I'm all for the traditional roles and everything. I think I've already been on the show saying how important the father is in the child's development, especially after the formative years. I'm just confused in how it's like you guys matter so much, but I don't understand how a man just being with the mom, just being there, just let's say I'm not going to speak on the freaking stepdad anymore. A coach maybe even taking your son because he's friends with his son home and they're playing video games. Like, is that okay? Like, I don't.
No,
we're not beating our. Come on now, we're not beating our chest, okay?
Responsibility and authority.
Not only do we sanction those relationships, we usually create them for our sons. So we sanction them 1,000%. We know where the child is at all times. We know the people that they are with. We completely sanction those relationships. If you want to be honest, well, the child is most at risk when the father doesn't sanction it. And the mother's just like, he's with who? Who? I don't know that fool. Like, you know what I mean? So fathers usually sanction these relationships. The coaches, the school district, the people he's playing with on the team. So at the high school level, that stuff gets real. People put their house up for sale to go live in another school district type stuff so they can play for another coach, right? So that's usually how deep in the game fathers are with this type of behavior. So we're not beating on our chest saying, no man shall talk or give direction to my child. Come on now, we're not doing that. We actually want, especially the men in our community, that's why men create community, to have a large amount of influence on our children. This is why men typically know not only the coaches at the school. Shan, you're a teacher. Men kind of come in if they're single fathers, but you know, they know the teacher, they know the coaches, they'll know the trainer, they know all this type of, yeah.
I don't see many fathers at mine, unfortunately.
Well, because mom's got custody. You live in Atlanta, that's why. She ain't tell them nor send them the email. That's what it was.
No, I call them sometimes. If I see a man on there, I'll call them, but it don't, you know, they'll just they'll fuss a little bit. They don't come to the conference. The woman.
I ain't seen the boy in 8 years. Now you want me to come to teach a parent teacher conference? I don't know.
I guess we must be living.
Listen, what did I say that makes me happen? Y'all get on my nerves. Y'all really do.
No, you legit said that a man takes over a house and now those are his kids. That's not.
Listen, that's how I was. No, but that's really how I was raised. I was raised.
You're trying to get somebody deleted. Stop it.
Not deleted, but I know. But back in the day, you do understand that that's how they used to roll. When a woman got pregnant, she was shipped off, right? She came back, and that kid, whoever she married to, that kid became his kid.
Remember, those fathers.
That just
the biological father was usually absent.
Okay, I disagree with that. Just so we're clear, I disagree with that.
No, I didn't say it should happen. I said that's what used to happen.
Right.
I didn't say it should happen.
Yeah,
I think that people
like,
have custody of
from what I can remember, so I think from what I can remember, it was like the woman got pregnant, So what I think the story that I've heard, because I'm from Virginia, right? And the
Mhm.
number one story you hear is sailors coming in port, impregnating the women, and then leaving out.
Oh.
Right? So yeah, you're never going to see that child's father again. Whoever comes in and steps in and marries that woman, yes, that is his household. Those are his children. But
I think
just
that
like Harrison
time
said, and Harrison made it very detailed. He said, if there's an active father whom the children love and see every day, daddy, that type of, oh no, that man has no dominion over his kids. Another man coming in there is literally stepping on that man's toes,
Yeah.
metaphorically speaking.
So I want to emphasize, people love to say that is what they used to do back in the day. That's not something I'm saying they should do now, because I do believe in joint custody. I'm a great co-parent. I will hand off responsibility. We're doing this together, shit. But I'm saying back in the day, that was not that way. And I do believe that has a lot to do with the reason why when you have a kid out of wedlock, that kid naturally has that mother's last name, because you guys aren't married. You have to petition the court in some type of way to become a part, have the last name. That's
I
just
think some kids, I think what we're missing is that we have to be realistic about why some of these things exist. Some children have their mom's last names because the mom didn't know the dad's last name. Let's just be real.
Well, I mean, some did, some, at
That because
the end of the day, at the end of the day, it's standard. That's what happens. That's the default. When a kid is born, unless he signs the paperwork, and they even took the paperwork out of the hospital, at least here in Georgia, where you have to actually go petition the court. Before you used to be able to just sign something at the hospital, but they took that away. And now they help you take a blood test. All of those things are incorporated in petition the court for paternity. But the reason is because you guys are not married. So you have to do an extra step. And let's just say she gets pregnant by another man and she's married to you. Guess what? They say it's your kid. You are her husband. It is your child. Not that man. It is your child.
So when people ask us all the time, what is the benefit of getting married, right? This not going to jail for murder is the benefit of getting married. Because most men feel like if you mess with their kids, they will kill you.
Oh yeah.
If I have the rights
too.
if I had the rights to my kids, then I guess I don't have to deal with this. This is why I'm glad I got the rights to my kids, because I'm not playing these games.
You're married.
I'm just listening to this story like, yeah, hell yeah. And I'm listening to these stories like, couldn't be me. No, I'm not. No, I can't go. I can't go. Nobody's go. I just can't go. I marry people then. Marry people and stay in the families and be with your kids. If you love your kids, you care about your kids, you want to be in their life, you just gonna have to make the sacrifice. You're gonna have to chalk that shit up, big dog, and do what you need to do so you can be in their life. Because at this point, this shit could get dangerous. It could get real.
If my wife say I'm leaving you, I'm like, where are we going? You ain't going nowhere.
Like shit, these kids
you can't take no breaks, no nothing. Where we going? Oh, okay. You need a vacation?
All right, you guys, we got one more video. Let's get it done because it's getting late, and you know me.
Treating kids like cable bills. I'm gonna put them in my mama name. Hell no, they my kids. They gonna stay in
my children, my property. Leave them with me. Yeah, they'll be all right.
No, everybody need to know. Come on now, and you're a parent. You know what I'm saying?
Parent too.
Yes,
I don't
know.
want our kid no more. I'm sorry.
What?
You don't be here. You don't be here taking care of her. You don't be going through all the stressful stuff that I be going through.
Sure.
I want to go out. I want to go to the club. I want to travel. I want to be able to get up at 2 a.m. and go hang with my friends if I want to do it. You don't be nowhere to be found.
What? I'm working. What are you talking about?
Doing what?
And you sound real selfish like that. Saying that. You sound real selfish.
I'm alone. You're supposed to be her father, and I'm alone.
I am her father, and I am here with her.
So where do you be at? Because you might as well be an absent baby daddy, and I might as well put you on child support.
Oh my God.
To be honest.
Well, where the baby at right now?
With your mother.
With my mother.
Yeah, because you want to sit here and put
but
a camera
you told
in my
me
face
she was going to be here with you.
Why would she be here with me when I don't want her?
Oh my God, you sound real selfish, man. I don't even understand how we even going through this right now.
Because you don't be here. I gotta sit there and bathe your child every night.
But that's what you're supposed to do.
I gotta sit here and listen to your child cry about her father not being here every night while I gotta put her to sleep. I gotta sit here and take her to the
Give me my kid.
Yep.
Yes,
Run
that's
me
what
them
he needs to
kids.
do. This is what I'm talking about. Men, it's so
You're
some
trifling.
men think this is what I tell y'all all the time. Men think that because a woman has a vagina and she's able to have kids, that she should be a mom. Not every woman should be a mother. And this is an example of a woman who should not be a mother. She has said it several times in that video. He shouldn't even plead with her. She should have had to say it one time. And at that point, he should have known it is time for me to grab my kids. Because she's a liability. Those poor kids are in danger. I mean, I would say she may not do anything to them, but what I got from it is I need you to get your kids. Because she's not the one. She is not in the right space to be taking care of kids. Even if they are hers, I would not trust her with my kids.
No, he's taking that. He's taking that baby. But see, people, and I ain't gonna lie, I do this to my wife all the time. My wife lives under a rock. She's not plugged into social media at all. She doesn't believe this stuff until I send her these clips. I sent her that clip like a month ago. She doesn't believe it. She said, "This fake." I said, "Does it look fake?" No, it's not fake. It's one of the most disappointing revelations of our modern time. But this is what is coming for a growing majority of women. They're still the minority, so I'll be fair and I'll say that. But it's a growing number of women feeling this way because just like you said, Shan, they were never meant to be mothers in the first place. These women are also not meant to be wives. So men need to be careful and take heed. But the worst part about it is that you need to vet properly from the outset. This woman is talking about going out. Just look at the detail that she laid out about the things that she wants to do. That means she's likely was living that life when you met her. So she just wants to go back to it. And the baby is a hindrance to that. Because I think they said he's at work. He's at work, so she's with the baby, so she can't go out and do what she wants to do. I just think that's really sad. That's the saddest thing I've seen.
So, to Shane's point, and to further emphasize what Trigger Mike said, I don't know if y'all heard about that case where this one mother left her infant child alone so that she could go party, and that child had passed away due to neglect, right? And we're hearing more and more of these stories. I wish that some men, let me backtrack a little bit. I know that a lot of men are really frustrated that they don't feel heard when they're speaking their truth to women. I wish that the same vigor that men fight for that they would really hear women when women say that they don't want to be mothers, because that is the end result of this type of behavior, right? It's not innate in everybody. Not everybody has it built into their DNA to be a parent. Whether you are male or female, it does not matter. Not everybody is suited to take care of a human being who is not self-sufficient, right? And to what Trigger Mike said, there's no way this woman did not show this level of selfishness before getting impregnated. She didn't just flip a switch and become this human being. I know postpartum is a real thing, because we're not going to negate that, but this is not that. This is not that. There's no way you didn't know. And if men are not taking precautions and not putting children and women who move like this, they're literally saving lives, right? And I know that seems really extreme, but when these children are passing away in growing numbers due to neglect like this, you are literally saving that child's life who cannot take care of themselves. And so, like, not all women are changeable. Not all women are coachable. Not all women are moldable. And the moment we start to recognize that and stop putting all women on the same playing field, I'm hoping at least men will start to make better decisions on who they have children with.
And think about the kids who have to suffer and don't, this is such a I don't know how else to say it, but that don't pass away, who have to suffer this neglect and grow up, and don't really develop either, I mean, this is just sad.
So that actually pissed me off. Is there any feedback? Am I good? How's the mic sound?
You're
All right.
good.
You're good.
First of all, we're not gonna argue. Second, I'm not recording it. Give me my kid. Go ahead and sign over the rights. Go have fun.
Mm-hmm.
Period. I'm not arguing with you. This is not a debate. You don't want the kid? Cool. It's my baby. Give me my kid. We're not arguing about this.
So,
Also, I
yeah.
150% agree with Missy Nas. Don't put your seed in a bad soil. You knew that soil was bad before you planted your seed. Period. Period. That didn't sneak up on you, bro. You see this little light skin, this little red bone, and you wanted to smash, and you dropped off your load, bruh. Wrap it up. First of all, my suggestion is don't even smash a chick like that. But if you do wrap that thing up, don't drop off your seed. Wrap up and pull out. Like you made a mistake, bro. But
And
I can
his biggest
understand
mistake
recording
is
it
if you
for.
want to get them kids.
I can understand recording it for video evidence in the event you have to go to court, but that shit's not hitting the internet.
Yeah.
No, I'm not putting that online. Nah, pass me my kid. Go to the club, have a drink, and have a good life.
Yeah.
Period.
So
because I'm gonna use my circle and raise this little boy or this little girl the best way I can, and you can go kick rocks, bitch.
So
I'm sorry,
this
pardon
is
my language.
I seen
Go
a
ahead,
video
Mark.
where this lady, I think it was in London. She went on vacation to 3 different places. Did y'all see that? Where she like took a cruise or something, and it was like an infant, like a 8-month, 7-month-year-old child. She left in the crib and it
Oh yeah,
starved to
I
death.
saw it. I saw it.
Where was that at?
It was the U.S.
Didn't Drea
One
do
lady
that?
was,
You know, like the basketball. What didn't Drea do? She go to Okay, so
God.
one of the basketball. Well, I think it was Drea. If you look up court documents back in the day, somebody called the police because her 4-year-old was left in the house, and she was in the streets.
No, the lady I'm talking about did this for multiple days with no
Yeah.
food for the child, and came back and the child had starved to death.
Yeah.
Like she was on the cruise kicking it.
What? No,
She
this
went to like 2
like
different
Nas said, this
countries.
is getting like really prevalent. Really prevalent. I think the lady that you're talking about, they had to search for her. Like she went missing. And they couldn't find her. You know, they're like, oh, did something happen to the mother? And then they found out that she was cruising, having a good time on vacation.
Just like
How
the
do you
one
go
lady who
on
left the
vacation with
kids.
your child starving to death?
Oh
Just
my
like
God.
you know the one that left it in Texas, that left her kids in Texas with her 14-year-old daughter, and she had like a 3-year-old, and she
Yep.
basically moved to like Mississippi or some shit.
Yep.
What?
Yes.
Yep.
Crazy shit.
Let me give y'all. So we have to add a little more context to this about how it really happens. Anecdote alert. So we have to understand that it's not just this situation does happen, absolutely, where the men should have absolutely vetted the woman better, but it does happen where these people are engaged or whatever. And what it is not only that women aren't suited to be moms. Women don't position their lives in a way to put marriage and motherhood first. So that's the modern problem. It's that they're looking at the basketball wife, they're looking at all these women with jobs and all of that, and they're saying, this is what I want to be. They prioritize career first and then try to put motherhood second and marriage on the back burner somewhere, and I'll get to it when I get to it. And what ends up happening is that, especially in the beginning, moms, it's an unthinkably hard job, man hours wise. So the amount of hours and the amount of demand that's on you. And the reason why I bring this up is because I tell women all the time, stop looking at your man like he's doing something wrong all the time. The children have special demands of mom. There's nothing I can do when they're looking at you with their hands out, titty. They smell milk. They don't want me. You have to understand that this is your life for the next 5 or so years. I'm like, we have to be real with women. Stop asking for men to step in where they cannot help. I cannot help. I'm going to make that child miserable because they're going to scream and look at you and say, why are you neglecting me? So the story I wanted to tell real quick is that I have a homeboy that's in the army, did all this stuff in the army to get stationed in Fort Bragg with his kid and his baby mom, ex-fiance rather. She has a baby by another guy. The kid is acting up in school. He said, "Let the kid." She's making threats. He's calling me because I'm the kid's godfather. Call her, bro. I'm about to go off on her. And like I'm like, oh, this is crazy. She's making threats as if she's gonna give the kid up for adoption because of his behavior, or she's
She
going
can't
to
do that
wring
without
his
his
neck.
permission.
She's doing all this type of stuff to get his attention. So I'm making calls she's not picking up. Then she ultimately, well, he finds out on a whim. She got another dude living in the house. She's pregnant. You know, he hasn't seen her, hasn't talked to her before. The son would be brought to him by his mom. She's pregnant and had another baby. So he finally gets stationed in Fort Bragg, and she says, "You need to come get your son, but I'm only giving him to you if I can keep the child support." you see these have a
Well,
lot
she
more
listen.
nuance in it.
First of all, he should have got the kid and said, okay. And then the court had documentation that he has the kid. She handed the kid over. And the child support will go. She don't make a decision about no child support. That's the court's decision. But this is what I wanted to say about this. This goes with the whole thing because I hear these men saying, "Oh, you got all these women you can date." They try to make these hoes into housewives. They really do. They feel like they got all these options, and y'all talk about, "Oh, the younger, the better," and they're looking past all these red flags, and you end up with this trifling chick right here. That's what you end up with. This trifling chick right here, because you out here chasing the baddie with the bag, and she don't want to be a mom, nor does she want to be your wife.
She wasn't even a baddie. She was a thottie. She was a thottie.
Well, yes, she was, but I'm just saying the women that they chase. Go ahead, Inaz.
Yeah, so I wanted to backtrack a little bit. So AP, I agreed with most of what you said, but I did have a little bit of pushback about posting the stuff on the internet. I think it's really important because I think the generation that comes behind us needs to be more aware of some of the situations that exist. I think women who move like that need to be shamed, and men need to be warned that that's how she moves, just in case she happens to be lying about who she is. Right? I'm not big on the whole shame factor, but when it's this excessive, I think it's a really fundamental tool to make sure that people who live that far outside of like the moral fabric of society really be called out for who they are. So in these extreme cases, kind of like I guess how we see like To Catch a Predator and all that stuff, when we look at extreme cases, I think that stuff should be highly publicized because those people should not be allowed to feel like the way that they move is okay, or that anybody else should get involved with them. So I'm all for these extremes being put up on the internet.
And let me just add real fast. I think it's important for men to understand that they don't always look like her. Sometimes they look like well put together women who would be great wives. And then when she becomes a mom, she realizes she's just not mom material.
Yeah,
You know,
we're screwed. That means
so
we're screwed.
So when women say they don't want to be a mother and they know they don't, you cannot talk them into motherhood.
But Shan, you also have to realize that no, that's not really what's happening. Women do not. It's also rare that women say they don't want to be a mom. Saying that you want to be a mom or that you want to have a man's baby is also a tactic to keep him.
Possibly,
like women will
like
do it. So think about it this way: the dream of being a mom is a lot different from the reality of being a mom. Would you agree? You know what? Nobody prepared you for that. There's no preparation. I only tried to prepare my wife verbally. Not that I knew what it's like to be a mom. I just watched I watched the women in my family take sole ownership of stuff going on with the kids. So I'm like, yo, this is kind of hard. It's really about you these first 5 years, bro. You better be ready, you know. And she was like, well, I have help. I have you. I was like, all right. She don't understand. She's going to get a rude awakening. So it's really not that they're not. I've never heard a woman say, I'm sorry, my ex used to say she didn't want to be a mom. And I believed her. She said it the whole time we were in college, even after. No, I don't think children are for me. So yes, it would have been my fault if I had impregnated her. But that's not what most women are doing. They're out here saying, I can't wait, or what?
Trigger Mike, there is a very significant difference between a woman saying, I want to have your babies and I want to be a mother. Like, Those are two very, very different things. And I think like
Agreed.
this language difference between men and women is like, this is where things start to fall through the cracks, right? Because I want to have your children is like, it's attraction, it's lust, it's infatuation. I
That is
want to
true.
be a mother is an understanding of the sacrifice that you need to make in order to make sure that these babies are going to be self-sufficient human beings, that they're going to get to that place where they are self-sufficient human beings. So like when we hear women say, I want to have your babies, I think it's really important that men understand in women's language that just means like, you know, she wants that D on a consistent basis. It does
You are
not mean that she's
absolutely right.
equipped to be a mother.
You are absolutely right, because it is lust, because they usually utter those words laying on their back, and they always grip in your face for some reason.
Yeah.
I want to have you.
Mike.
I want to have you, baby.
Uh-uh.
Okay.
This is not a
Okay.
porn show.
She just caressing your face. It's like, okay.
All right, y'all. It's
Yeah.
getting late. Anybody else want to add their 5 cents?
Can we end with the cute tiger video, because that has me feeling. I feel really pissed off right now.
Your chakras are you threw your energy off. Is that what you?
I don't do that shit,
Why
but-
are you upset? I'm sorry.
No. It's just, it's a sad reality. It just is what it is. We've
That
all
that
heard
that
of
video
cases.
is disgusting. You usually don't
Yeah.
get videos that will put you in a bad mood. You're just like, it is what it is. Remember, the world is kind of used to fathers ditching. Remember, we don't carry babies. Our bond with the child doesn't come till after it's born necessarily. So, you know, we can look at the child, play with the child, and be like, oh, this is my baby. This is my identity. I'm taking full ownership over this. Women carry a child in their whole body. So we give extra smoke to women for doing for saying what that woman said. Like you can't detach from your child. That came out of your body. You wildin'.
She did.
I had sympathy more than sickness when my kids was my first child was coming. I ain't gonna hold you. I think sympathy more than sickness. I was sicker than her.
Man,
Oh damn! That's what you said.
With so many women that can't have kids, when I listen to a bitch like this, like it
Your audio, AP, your audio.
Okay, Star
Is
Trek.
that better?
Not Star
Yeah,
Trek. What's
that's
the
better.
name of the show? Not
No,
Star Trek.
I figured it out. It's rubbing against my beard, I think. Is this better? Can you guys hear me better?
You gotta get some Tej Henley. You gotta get some Tej Henley to fix that.
No, like there's so many women that can't have kids, and when you hear women talk like this bitch was talking,
Shit.
It really pisses you off, man. Like that was the reason I got up immediately. I was pissed. I'm like, what? This bitch is crazy.
I'm gonna be pissed if you
Give
don't
me
take
my
the
kid.
kids.
Give me my kid. Like that.
No,
I ain't
so
arguing with you.
let's be real though, AP and Shane. Let's be real. What usually ends up happening, because these, like I said, these situations are very nuanced. Go try to file for legal custody or whatever. Go try to do that and watch her. She's saying she wants to give up the kid. Her family probably doesn't know she's saying that. This is what most women do, right? They want you to take physical custody without having legal custody. Women do that all the time. And most baby daddies can tell you the kid's been over here for 6 months. I drive them to school every day, but they live 45 minutes away. Most father will tell you that because she'll give up physical custody for the moment because she wants to party. I guarantee you, let him try to take legal custody. She will have a change of heart this day and try to tie that shit up in court.
Well, he needs to fight for it.
Which is why I said I can understand the recording of that incident.
Yeah.
Because that gives you a very solid leg to stand on
that
when
is
you
true.
go to court.
Go ahead, Inaz, so we can.
No. Yeah, no, I don't even think he needs to make it to court. All he needs to do is draw up papers of her signing away her parental rights. And in that moment says, all right, cool. You don't want to do this? Sign these papers. And if she wants to fight it, she can take him to court. I think a lot of people need to
I'm trying to tell you from the stories I've heard, she is all talk. right up until the moment it's time to sign that paper. No, you trying to make me look like a fool. This is like, I'm telling
We
you,
never
if she
know.
signs in, great. Right at that moment where you're absolutely serious, like this woman will not have my children out here. I don't know if she's gonna drown them in the tub or what. You see what I'm saying? You're trying to hurry it along. Watch her try to just
No.
bait and switch.
So here's okay. So when it comes to like custody battles, right? And men wanting to like men being hesitant on the investment that it takes to win custody battles, because once it gets to that point, it's so far gone, and the court systems are not favorable towards men. It's not a neutral party system in terms of making the best decision for the child, right? But in cases like this, if that man were to call CPS, because it doesn't sound like they're married, if that man decided to call CPS, you know what would happen? There would be documented neutral party evidence that this woman does not actually care for that child. It's either with his mother or hers, right?
Mm.
And then with this video intact, and I'm sure there are text messages and voicemails and all of that stuff to go with it, is not the first time this woman has vocalized this, right? He knew when to hit the record button because this was not the first time that they've had this conversation. By the time it gets to a custody battle, then they're equipped, right? But I think all too many times when men find themselves in this situation, they're so vested in the child's best interest and not wanting to hurt that woman's feelings that they hurt themselves in the process. I think that if more men were more savvy about the legal process, I think the results would wind up looking different. When you are ready to prepare yourself, because this is what women do, women will prepare themselves for that stuff, right? If he is cheating, she will stick it out for a couple of years and collect evidence in order to get more money at the end of the day, right? I think if men did the same thing when it came to custody, I think the numbers would be significantly different. You have to document everything. You have to understand what legal avenues that you can take, what rights do exist, right? I think it's so important that you just not give up because you hear these statistics and understand what it takes to shift the statistics.
Perfect. That was a great thing to end the night on. It's awesome. You guys, thank you guys for being here. We're gonna wrap this thing up because it's almost 1:00 in the ATL. Thank you guys for being here with us tonight, panelists.
We just have to ask you, Shan, are you staying home tonight? Because
Oh,
you were
I
wilding
will
last week.
not
You were
be going out.
wilding.
Yes, I was out of my element, and I saw what could happen. And I have decided to just be
Oh,
the.
like, can somebody go get Shan? Somebody take her phone. Oh God, what's going on? Somebody go get the girl, man.
It shocked me though, Y'all will never know what happened. They know what happened. Oh, Mike, you wasn't there to hear the whole story, but it was a mess.
Oh damn.
Anyway,
I'll hear it another time.
yeah, I said it before we got on the show. But anyway, good night, everyone. Happy Friday. Well, happy Saturday now. But have a great weekend. We'll see you next week. Same time, same place. See you later.